Chapter 1292. Apart from the group of Thundercloud Peak disciples, even the master of Thundercloud Peak, Thunder Emperor Wu, was looking at Zhou Yi as though he wanted to confirm if Emperor Wu Shiqi was telling the truth. His instincts told him that everything that Emperor Wu Shiqi said might be true. What? You don't dare to admit that you betrayed the Lost Stone Forest? When Emperor Wu saw that Zhou Yi seemed to be ignoring him, he smirked. At the same time, he looked at Thunder Emperor Wu and said with a solemn expression, "Thunder Emperor Wu, although I don't know why a traitor from the Lost Stone Forest would come to your Thundercloud Peak, I still have to remind you, Zhou Yi is not worthy of your trust, nor is he worthy of your protection. If he can betray the Lost Stone Forest, he can betray your Thundercloud Peak as well." At this moment, Emperor Wu was almost certain Zhou Yi had become a Thundercloud Peak disciple and was protected by Thunder Emperor Wu. He knew very well, Thunder Emperor Wu's ability was not something he could compare to. If he wanted to punish the traitor Zhou Yi under Thunder Emperor Wu's nose and take back the mysterious stone tablet that Zhou Yi had secretly swapped, he could only use his wits and not his strength. Betrayed the Lost Stone Forest? The moment Emperor Wu's words left his mouth, before Thunder Emperor Wu could respond, Zhou Yi had already made his move. He lifted his head slowly and glanced at Emperor Wu nonchalantly before he said, "I admit that I was once Emperor Wu's direct disciple. However, I left the Lost Stone Forest. Are you sure it's because I betrayed you and not because you can't tolerate me?" "I can't tolerate you?" Emperor Wu, who was stunned by Zhou Yi's words, snapped back to his senses and sneered. However, when Martial Emperor Shiqi opened his mouth and was about to say something, he abruptly shut his mouth in an obedient manner. The cold smile on his face completely froze at this moment. All of this was because a voice transmission had sounded out by his ear. "Shiqi, if you dare to call me a traitor of Lost Stone Forest again, I'll hand that stone tablet over to Emperor Wu. At that time, it'll be even more difficult for you to take the stone tablet back." The voice transmission that entered Emperor Wu's ears came from Zhou Yi. Threats. It was a blatant threat. With just a few words, Zhou Yi had completely shut up Emperor Wu's mouth. As the saying goes, hit the snake where it hurts. What Zhou Yi was doing now was no different from that. Naturally, the reason why Zhou Yi's threat was so effective was because Emperor Wu still had not given up on the stone tablet that he had secretly replaced. He knew that Emperor Wu's greatest goal wasn't to punish him, the traitor, but the stone steel. Compared to the stone tablet, a traitor like him was not worth mentioning. You unfilial disciple." Upon hearing Zhou Yi's threat, Emperor Wu was so angry that he felt like he was about to explode. However, he only dared to scold Zhou Yi through voice transmission. He was really worried that Zhou Yi would hand the stone tablet over to Emperor Wu of Thunder. If the stone tablet was in Zhou Yi's hands, there was still hope for him to snatch it back. However, if it was in the hands of Emperor Wu of Thunder, there was almost no hope for him to snatch it back. After weighing the pros and cons, he naturally hoped that the stone tablet would remain in Zhou Yi's hands instead of the Thunder Emperor Wu's. As for whether the stone tablet was still in Zhou Yi's hands, he did not doubt it at all. With Zhou Yi's greed, it was impossible for him to hand the stone tablet over to someone else unless he was facing a life and death crisis. "Why? Can't say anything? Are you in the wrong?" Zhou Yi said with a mocking smile when he saw Martial Emperor Shiqi, who was rendered speechless by Zhou Yi's words. "Zhou Yi, what's going on?" At this moment, Emperor Wu of Thunder finally spoke. His voice was solemn, and there was no emotion in it at all. "Master, it's true that I was a disciple of Lost Stone Forest in the past. Moreover, I was Emperor Wu's direct disciple. However, I left Lost Stone Forest after my sister was raped and killed by him." Zhou Yi gritted his teeth as he spoke to Emperor Wu of Thunder. "Emperor Wu of Thunder framed me as a traitor of Lost Stone Forest in order to get rid of the root of the problem." When Zhou Yi reached the end of his sentence, tears began to roll down his face that was filled with grief and indignation. Whoosh! The moment Zhou Yi's words left his mouth, the entire place was in an uproar. Almost everyone, including the Lost Stone Forest disciples, shifted their attention to Martial Emperor Shiqi in unison. There were looks of disdain, mockery, and anger. Although some of the disciples of Lost Stone Forest had heard about Zhou Yi's betrayal of Lost Stone Forest, they did not know the reason behind it. To them, it was a mystery that was difficult to solve. However, the mystery seemed to have been revealed today. Emperor Wu of Cloud Continent is a famous Emperor Wu powerhouse after all. I can't believe he's capable of doing such a thing. How infuriating. That's right. He even killed the family of his direct disciple. Is there anything he won't do? Back then, I thought about joining Lost Stone Forest and becoming Emperor Wu's disciple. Now that I think about it, it's fortunate that I made a different choice back then. Compared to Zhou Yi, your choice is the right one. Whether it was the people from Hidden Fog Island, or the group of Emperor Wu's disciples from Cloud Continent, all of them looked at Emperor Wu of disdain as they whispered among themselves. Their gazes were filled with disdain. At this moment, even the 10 Lost Stone Forest disciples behind Emperor Wu felt ashamed and resentful. If they were not worried that Emperor Wu would attack them, they would have run as far away as they could from Emperor Wu and acted as if they did not know him. Led by Lan Bai, many of the Thundercloud Peak's disciples looked at Emperor Wu angrily as they sympathized with Zhou Yi. Martial Emperor Shiqi's expression was extremely unsightly. Never had he imagined that Zhou Yi would accuse him in such a way and frame him. It caused him to feel a wave of grievance, and he wished for nothing more than to tell the entire sequence of events, so that the truth would be revealed to the world. However, could he do that? Once he did that, it would undoubtedly force Zhou Yi into a corner, and the mysterious stone tablet would most likely fall into the hands of Martial Emperor Lei Ming. That was not the ending he wanted. Emperor Wu did not refute Zhou Yi's accusation and the crowd's mockery. At this moment, the crowd believed Zhou Yi's words even more. Humph. At this moment, a cold snort that sounded like an explosion resonated in the air. It was so loud that it hurt everyone's eardrums. Just when the crowd snapped back to their senses and looked in the direction of the sound to see who had snorted, bang. A loud bang resonated in the air, followed by a vast shockwave that swept out and attracted everyone's attention. Subsequently, most of them noticed that Emperor Wu had disappeared. Only a few people with a higher cultivation base could clearly see that Emperor Wu did not disappear. Instead, he was sent flying by a powerful force and was severely injured. These people were also the first to react as they looked at Martial Emperor Lei Ming. Somehow, Martial Emperor Lei Ming was already standing in front of Zhou Yi. He was the one who had attacked earlier. He had always been satisfied with Zhou Yi as his direct disciple. However, today someone had framed Zhou Yi, causing him to doubt Zhou Yi's character. At this moment he was filled with rage. In his rage, he immediately attacked Emperor Wu. Emperor Wu, I don't want to see you again. If you dare to appear before me in the span of 3 breaths, I'll definitely kill you. Just when most of the people regained their senses and shifted their gazes to Martial Emperor Lei Ming, Martial Emperor Lei Ming spoke at a speed that was neither fast nor slow. His tone was firm and filled with a terrifying ruthlessness. At this moment, Emperor Wu, who had just consumed the healing pill, had a drastic change of expression. He did not wait for his injuries to heal before he quickly fled. His speed was even faster than lightning. He did not look like someone who had just been injured. At this moment the vast sea regained its calm. The group of Emperor Wu's disciples from Lost Stone Forest looked at each other. They did not know if they should leave or not. They were stuck in a dilemma. On the other side, today was the day of the Hidden Fog Martial Competition, held by the Hidden Fog Island. Since Duan Lingtian was fully immersed in comprehending the Saint-grade martial tactic, Colossal Aerolite Arrow, he had yet to regain his senses. For this reason, the group of people from Lingxian Peak departed a little later to wait for him. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The group of people from Lingxian Peak was led by Emperor Wu, Yang Hui. Duan Lingtian brought the 2 girls and walked side by side with Yang Hui. They attracted a lot of attention along the way. Of course, most of his attention was attracted by the 2 little girls. Brother Lingtian, the Hidden Fog Island has invested a lot in the Hidden Fog Martial Competition this time. The person who obtains the first place in the Hidden Fog Martial Competition will receive 10 Saint Stones. Yang Hui told Duan Lingtian along the way. 10 Saint Stones. Duan Lingtian's eyes lit up right away. He was interested in the Hidden Fog martial competition on the Hidden Fog Island because he was interested in the Saint Stones. The Saint Stones could help him elevate his cultivation base. Now that his cultivation base had entered the Emperor Wu stage, and the medicinal efficacy of the rebirth pill had been depleted, it was difficult for him to cultivate, even though his innate talent had already reached the pinnacle of Cloud Continent. However, everything would be different with the Saint Stones. His cultivation base would increase rapidly, and he would advance by leaps and bounds. Soon after, Duan Lingtian and the group entered the ocean and headed to the north of the Hidden Fog Island. That was where the Hidden Fog martial competition was held. It was also their destination. Suddenly, Duan Lingtian's eyes narrowed as though he had noticed something. In the distance, a silhouette was dashing toward them at an extremely fast speed. It was getting closer and closer. When the person got closer, Duan Lingtian's face turned grave. Emperor Wu Shiqi. Chapter 1293. With just a glance, Duan Lingtian recognized Shiqi Emperor Wu. However, at the moment he recognized Shiqi Emperor Wu, Shiqi Emperor Wu had already passed by them from afar. The people from Lingxian Peak, including Spirit Profound Emperor Wu and Yang Hui, did not have time to react. In his haste, Yang Hui did not recognize Shiqi Emperor Wu and continued to talk to Duan Lingtian. You guys go first. I still have something to do. I'll catch up with you guys later. Duan Lingtian said to Yang Hui and the two girls. Then, without waiting for their reply, he seemed to have transformed into a gust of wind and disappeared before everyone's eyes except for Yang Hui. Yang Hui frowned slightly. Just as he was about to turn around to look at Duan Lingtian who was walking back, he heard Duan Lingtian's voice transmission. Duan Lingtian had asked him to go first again. At that moment, Yang Hui could vaguely sense that Duan Lingtian's problem was not as simple as it seemed. Although he did not know what was going on, he was certain of one thing. Duan Lingtian wanted to solve it himself, and did not want to rely on others. After catching his breath, Yang Hui called out to Li Fei and Ke before he ordered the group of Lingxian Peak disciples to continue on their way. At that moment, Li Fei and Ke also received Duan Lingtian's voice transmission. The second reminder from Duan Lingtian made them feel relieved. Earlier, when Duan Lingtian first said that, they did not feel confident at all. Now that Duan Lingtian had revealed everything to them, they felt relieved and didn't have to worry about him any longer. When Yang Hui, Li Fei, Ke, and the others left, Duan Lingtian followed behind Shiqi Emperor Wu. Flying at full speed, his speed was faster than Emperor Wu. Duan Lingtian was getting closer and closer to Shiqi Emperor Wu. With Duan Lingtian's current ability, Shiqi Emperor Wu was no match for him regardless of his spirit weapon. After all, Shiqi Emperor Wu was only at the 4th level Emperor Wu stage. Unlike Duan Lingtian, who relied on his own comprehension of profundity, apart from profundity, Shiqi Emperor Wu relied on his origin energy as well. It was an important part of the strongest power he could unleash. If both of them were to use spirit weapons, Duan Lingtian would not have much confidence in defeating Shiqi Emperor Wu unless he used the colossal aerolite arrow. At this moment, Shiqi Emperor Wu was fleeing for his life, but he did not use his spirit weapon. Although Duan Lingtian did not use his spirit weapon as well, the strength he unleashed without his spirit weapon was much stronger. Therefore, his speed was much faster than Shiqi Emperor Wu. If this continues, it'll take me some time to catch up to him. Duan Lingtian, who was flying forward, frowned. He seemed to be dissatisfied with his current speed. Since he was dissatisfied, he would think of a way to solve it. Since he had decided to do it, Duan Lingtian suddenly stretched his hands forward. A moment later, a strong black bow appeared in his left hand. The bowstring on the strong bow looked extraordinary. There was an arrow in his right hand. It was a pitch-black arrow. It was the royal-grade spirit weapon bow that he had refined not long ago. He bent his waist, knocked the arrow, and released the bowstring. It was not a complicated action, but Duan Lingtian did it effortlessly. Along with the loosening of the bowstring in Duan Lingtian's hand, the arrow that was pitch black like ink seemed to have transformed into a bolt of lightning that swiftly shot out, and its speed was ridiculously fast. Naturally, This was only the speed at the beginning. The speed of the arrow needed some time to increase. At the instant the arrow was shot out, at the critical moment, Duan Ling Tian finally moved. His entire body shot out like a cannonball, and the direction he shot out was precisely the direction the arrow flew out from. Since the arrow had just begun to accelerate, its speed was not considered fast. Therefore, Duan Ling Tian caught up with it easily. After catching up to the arrow, Duan Ling Tian did not put it away. Instead, he landed steadily on its body. At this moment, Duan Ling Tian's feet seemed to have taken root on the arrow. It was difficult for him to move at all. Whoosh! The arrow was still accelerating, but it was bringing Duan Ling Tian along with it. It was getting faster and faster. Unknowingly, a 5-colored light shield quietly appeared on Duan Ling Tian's body. It was Duan Ling Tian's defensive martial skill, 9 Dragons Protection, that blocked the strong wind that was coming at him head-on. He stood on the arrow and accelerated along with it. During the acceleration process, every strong wind that blew at Duan Ling Tian was as sharp as a blade. Without a defensive martial skill, there was no way for him to block it. Not long after, Duan Ling Tian, who was chasing after Emperor Wu, easily caught up to Emperor Wu with the help of the arrow's speed. Not only did he catch up to Emperor Wu, but he even surpassed him. Thunder Emperor Wu? When he heard a whistling sound pass by him, surpass him, and arrive in front of him, blocking his path, Emperor Wu's expression changed drastically before he could focus his eyes to look. He only thought that it was Thunder Emperor Wu who went back on his word and caught up to him to kill him. However, as he hurriedly stopped, he realized that the person in front of him was not Thunder Emperor Wu, but someone else. "It's you." Looking at the purple-clothed young man in front of him, Emperor Wu's expression changed drastically, as if he had seen a ghost. "It seems that Emperor Wu still remembers me." At this moment, Duan Ling Tian had already put away the arrow under his feet and stood in the air. He calmly looked at Emperor Wu and said calmly, "It's really my honor." As he spoke, Duan Ling Tian's tone was mixed with a bit of sarcasm. Emperor Wu's mouth twitched when he heard that. How could he forget the purple-clothed young man in front of him? The battle more than a year ago was still vivid in his mind. The other party was evenly matched with him when he cast a secret technique using a stone tablet. In the end, the other party even displayed a strength that was even more powerful than his. It was fortunate that the other party had lost his mind. Otherwise, he might have turned into a pile of dirt on Cloud Continent. The first thing Emperor Wu did when he saw Duan Ling Tian appearing before him was to observe his surroundings. He wanted to confirm one thing. He wanted to confirm if the 2 young ladies who came to his lost stone forest and caused a ruckus were still there. Even the weaker one of the 2 young ladies was far from being a match for him. "Is Tian Wu still in your lost stone forest?" Naturally, Duan Ling Tian did not know about Emperor Wu's thoughts. A cold gleam flashed in his eyes as he asked in a deep voice. A wave of heartache and worry rose in his heart when he thought about Feng Tianwu. At that time, he had lost his mind before he could save Feng Tianwu and leave the lost stone forest. According to Wang Ba, he had lost his mind. After he lost his rationality, he directly left Lost Stone Forest and left Feng Tianwu there. Tianwu was willing to go to the Lost Stone Forest for his sect, but he had left her behind at the critical moment. Although it was because he had lost his mind, his heart was still filled with guilt. The moment he saw Emperor Wu, he did not think about the Devil Seal tablet that he had lost. Instead, he thought about Feng Tianwu. "I can't believe your ability has improved so much in this 1 year. With the help of the spirit weapon, your speed is even faster than mine without the help of the spirit weapon." Emperor Wu did not reply to Duan Ling Tian. A cold gleam flashed in his eyes as he lamented in a cold voice. Killing intent shot out from the depth of his eyes. He had confirmed one thing from the purple-clothed young man's question. He had not seen the yellow-clad young lady and the white-clad little girl. Otherwise, it was impossible that he did not know about Feng Tianwu's whereabouts. He had told the 2 ladies that he could not afford to offend about Feng Tianwu's whereabouts. "I'm asking you, is Tianwu still in the Lost Stone Forest?" Duan Ling Tian, who was ignored by Emperor Wu, spoke in a deep voice. "If anything happens to Tianwu, I, Duan Ling Tian, will annihilate the entire Lost Stone Forest. The moment his words left his mouth, Duan Lingtian's purple robe fluttered in the wind. At the same time, he tightened his grip on the royal grade spirit archery set. Around his body, streaks of 5-colored lightning flashed, as if they had transformed into countless electric snakes that rapidly moved around him. Just a glance was enough to dazzle anyone. Annihilate the entire Lost Stone Forest? Upon hearing Duan Lingtian's words, Emperor Wu was stunned for a moment before he laughed out loud. His laughter was filled with disdain. If Duan Lingtian had the yellow-clad young lady, or the white-clad little girl by his side, perhaps he would be slightly fearful. However, he was not afraid of Duan Lingtian at all, even if he had the help of his spirit weapon and possessed a shocking speed. After all, his opponent no longer had the mysterious stone tablet to rely on. As soon as Emperor Wu was done speaking, Duan Lingtian's eyes gleamed fiercely like an electric snake. At the same time, his hands moved at lightning speed. He raised the bow, knocked the arrow, and pulled the string to the maximum. The entire process was done in one go. 5-colored flames instantly soared and spread around Duan Lingtian's body. When it gathered on the royal grade spirit archery set in his hand, more flames gathered at the tip of the arrow. The energy became more and more condensed. In the end, it seemed to have transformed into a small scorching sun that was dazzling and eye-catching. A terrifying aura filled the air. At this moment, the smile on Emperor Wu's face had disappeared. A 7-foot-long spear appeared in his hand. It was his quasi-royal grade spirit weapon long spear. As the long spear shook, energy swept around his body. The energy seemed to have transformed into pythons that were moving rapidly around the long spear. It's good to be confident. However, it's not good to be confident to the point of being arrogant. You managed to escape that day, but you won't be so lucky today. Emperor Wu had the intention to kill Duan Lingtian. He had to kill him. If he did not kill him, would he not be dead when Duan Lingtian encountered the two young ladies? His heart shuddered when he recalled the yellow-clad young lady and the white-clad little girl. If it was possible, he hoped that he would never see them again in his life. You want to kill me? Let's see how strong you are, Emperor Wu. Duan Lingtian sneered. As soon as his words left his mouth, a loud buzz reverberated in the air. It caused the air to tremble and ripples spread out like water. It was the loud sound of the bowstring on Duan Lingtian's bow. Chapter 1294. Colossal Aerolite Arrow. In the blink of an eye, the arrow in Duan Lingtian's hand shot out. It was so fast that Emperor Wu could not react in time. Whoosh! Whoosh! Humph! The sound of the arrow piercing through the air, the sound of the arrow piercing through the body, and a groan of pain were heard almost at the same time. Emperor Wu's hand that was holding the spear was pierced through before he could react. Only a hideous bloody hole was left, and blood kept spurting out of it. His arm bone was broken by the arrow. Whoosh! 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 Just as Emperor Wu's expression changed drastically, and he was shocked by the speed and power of Duan Lingtian's arrow, Duan Lingtian shot out another 3 arrows consecutively. The arrow was still the same arrow. It was shot out 4 times, and it returned to Duan Lingtian's hand 4 times. All of this happened in the blink of an eye. Whoosh! 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 On the other hand, Martial Emperor Shiqi's other arm, and both of his legs had a terrifying bloody hole on each of them. At this moment, Martial Emperor Shiqi's face turned ghastly pale immediately. You. When he looked at Duan Lingtian with a painful expression, his eyes were filled with fear. He did not expect the purple-clothed young man in front of him to become so strong after more than a year. Without the mysterious stone tablet as a support, his strength had already surpassed him. Just now, when Duan Lingtian shot the first arrow, he did not have time to react before he was shot. After that, Duan Lingtian shot out 3 more arrows. Although he chose to dodge at the first moment, the arrows shot by Duan Lingtian seemed to have eyes. They pierced through both his arms and legs, and the arrows shattered his bones. Such a powerful and terrifying archery skill made him feel fear from the bottom of his heart. He knew the purple-clothed young man in front of him was not the purple-clothed young man from more than a year ago. He was far from being a match for him. How did you become so strong? It's only been more than a year. While Emperor Wu was terrified, he was filled with dissatisfaction. A year ago, Duan Lingtian did not use the stone tablet to activate his secret skill, and he was like an ant in front of him. However, today, Duan Lingtian defeated him with his own strength. It made him feel like he had lived half his life in vain. I'll ask you one last time. Is Tian Wu still in your lost stone forest? Duan Lingtian ignored Emperor Wu's eyes. His eyes were cold as he asked his question. His eyes. He made a decision in his heart. If Martial Emperor Shi still refused to cooperate, he would not hold back anymore. She's not. This time, the moment Duan Lingtian's words left his mouth, Martial Emperor Shi had already answered in a panic. He was completely terrified after witnessing Duan Lingtian's current strength. She's not here? Duan Lingtian had a cold expression on his face. The energy in his body rose again. 5-colored lightning began to dance around the bow in his left hand, and the arrow in his right hand. They emitted a terrifying aura. Qihua took her away. Emperor Wu's body trembled as he answered in a panic. He no longer looked like a powerhouse like Emperor Wu. He looked like a pitiful person who was struggling to survive. Qihua. Duan Lingtian frowned. Qihua is the first revered elder of the Hidden Fog Island. His position in the Hidden Fog Island is only below the 3 island masters. Back then, he came to my Lost Stone Forest as the Hidden Fog Island's messenger to deliver the news that the Hidden Fog martial competition would be held in advance. Emperor Wu said, "At that time, he took a fancy to your confidant's talent and took her away. If I'm not mistaken, your confidant should be in the Hidden Fog Island now." Tian Wu is in the Hidden Fog Island. Duan Lingtian narrowed his eyes when he heard Emperor Wu's words. He asked in a deep voice, "Is what you said true? If you don't believe me, I'm willing to swear on the 99 heavenly tribulation that I'll be struck to death by the lightning punishment if I'm lying." Emperor Wu said. Duan Lingtian finally believed Emperor Wu's words. He sighed in relief. This meant Tian Wu was fine. Moreover, as long as Tian Wu was in the Hidden Fog Island, he believed they would meet soon. This was good news to him. However, I haven't told Kerr and Little Feier about Tian Wu. Kerr is fine. I wonder if Little Feier will be angry. Duan Lingtian felt a headache when he thought about Li Fei, who was jealous. He knew very well how Tian Wu felt about him. After so many years of being together, he had developed feelings for Tian Wu. Unknowingly, he realized that Tian Wu's position in his heart was already on par with Kaer and Li Fei, and each of them occupied a place. Martial Emperor Shi hovered in the air at the side. After consuming the healing medicinal pill, his injuries had recovered slightly. However, it would take some time for his pierced limbs to heal completely. After all, the healing pill in his hand was only a grade 1 life recovery pill. If he had Duan Lingtian's royal grade resurrection pill, he would be able to heal his injuries completely in just a blink of an eye. Although his injuries had healed slightly, Emperor Wu did not dare to leave. Emperor Wu had a complicated expression in his eyes as he looked at the purple-clad young man. His heart was filled with dread. A year ago, this purple-clad young man had to rely on the mysterious stone tablet to activate his secret method before he could fight with him. However, a year had passed, and the purple-clad young man's ability had completely crushed him without using his secret method. "Where's my Devil Seal tablet?" Soon after, Duan Lingtian regained his senses and asked in a deep voice as he looked at Emperor Wu again. "The Devil Seal tablet." Upon hearing Duan Lingtian's words, Emperor Wu's heart skipped a beat. He was filled with bitterness. The thing he was most worried about had happened. Initially, he thought Duan Lingtian would not remember the mysterious stone tablet. If he could survive today, he might have a chance to snatch it back from Zhou Yi's hands in the future. However, things did not go as he wished. Duan Lingtian finally remembered the mysterious stone tablet. "So, it's called the Devil Seal tablet." Emperor Wu sighed. "The Devil Seal tablet is not in my hands." Emperor Wu smiled wryly when he saw Duan Lingtian's sharp gaze. "Not in your hands?" Duan Lingtian sneered. Naturally, he did not believe Emperor Wu's words. What a joke! Martial Emperor Shi was the master of Lost Stone Forest. Back then, Martial Emperor Shi had fought with him after he was devilified. He knew that there was a shocking secret in the Devil Seal tablet. However, his Devil Seal tablet was left in Lost Stone Forest in the end. The Devil Seal tablet was not in Emperor Wu's hands? Who would believe that? It's really not in my hands. As though he saw through Duan Lingtian's thoughts, Emperor Wu smiled wryly. After you left, the Devil Seal tablet was indeed in my hands. I admit that. However, in the process of studying the Devil Seal tablet, I was deceived by Zhou Yi, and he replaced the real Devil Seal tablet with a fake one. I can swear on the 99 heavenly tribulation on this. When he reached the end of his sentence, killing intent rose in the depth of Emperor Wu's eyes. Naturally, it was not targeted at Duan Lingtian. Instead, it was targeted at his traitorous disciple Zhou Yi. Zhou Yi, Duan Lingtian frowned. The person who abducted Tian Wu and brought her to Lost Stone Forest? Isn't he your direct disciple? He used to be my direct disciple. However, from the moment he replaced the Devil Seal tablet with a fake one, he was no longer my direct disciple. He's no longer a member of Lost Stone Forest. Emperor Wu said. You didn't find him after that? Duan Lingtian asked in a deep voice. I went to look for him after that, but it was to no avail. However, I saw him today. Emperor Wu said frankly. He could guess Duan Lingtian's purpose for appearing here. He must be here for the Hidden Fog martial competition. Even if he did not say anything, Duan Lingtian would still be able to see Zhou Yi. Therefore, he might as well take the initiative to say it. Perhaps he could curry favor with Duan Lingtian and spare his life. You saw him today? He's in the Hidden Fog Island? Duan Lingtian asked in surprise as his eyes lit up. Yes. Emperor Wu nodded. He's in the Hidden Fog Island now. He's here to participate in the Hidden Fog martial competition with an Emperor Wu from the Cloud Continent. You didn't get the Devil Seal tablet back. Duan Lingtian frowned. The Emperor Wu he's with now is much more powerful than me. Emperor Wu recounted his encounter with Zhou Yi, including Zhou Yi's threat, his thoughts, and his fear of the Thunder Emperor Wu. Thunder Emperor Wu? Duan Lingtian nodded and glanced at Emperor Wu nonchalantly. He said, Since you're so cooperative, I won't kill you today. I hope you won't provoke me again. Otherwise, I won't show you any mercy. Duan Lingtian, who had learned of Tian Wu's whereabouts and the Devil Seal tablets' whereabouts, was eager to rush to the place where the Hidden Fog martial competition was held. He was certain that the Devil Seal tablet was there. As for Tian Wu, since Tian Wu was taken away by the first revered elder of the Hidden Fog Island, even if she didn't participate in the Hidden Fog martial competition today, I'm sure she'll be there. Duan Lingtian speculated. However, he did not know that for some reason, apart from Feng Tianwu, even the first revered elder of the Hidden Fog Island, Qi Hua, had left the Hidden Fog Island. Duan Lingtian was about to leave. Wait. Right at this moment, Martial Emperor Shi called out to him. What's the matter? Duan Lingtian frowned. I owe you a favor if you don't kill me today. There's something I need to tell you. Emperor Wu said. Under Duan Lingtian's curious gaze, Emperor Wu continued. Actually, 2 powerful demon emperor powerhouses came to my Lost Stone Forest not too long ago. What does this have to do with me? Duan Lingtian frowned even more. He did not have the time to listen to Emperor Wu's nonsense. They came for you. However, what Emperor Wu said next stunned Duan Lingtian. They came for me? Who are they? 2 demon emperor powerhouses. He remembered that he did not know any demon emperor powerhouses. Chapter 1295. Yellow-clad young girl? Mischievous? After hearing Emperor Wu's words, a familiar figure immediately appeared in Duan Lingtian's mind. Han Xuanai. Xuanai is back. Duan Lingtian's eyes lit up. It was easy for him to guess that the yellow-clad young girl was Han Xuanai. Subsequently, he looked at Emperor Wu and asked, What are the characteristics of the other white-clad little girl? Or, how did the yellow-clad young girl address her? The yellow-clad young girl addressed her as Little White. Emperor Wu recalled for a moment before replying. Little White. Duan Lingtian's heart jolted. If he had only guessed that the yellow-clad young girl was Han Xuanai earlier, he did not dare to be 100% sure. But now, he was completely sure of it. Was Little White not the little white python from all those years ago? It seems like Little White has already transformed into a human. She has transformed into a little girl. A faint smile appeared on the corner of Duan Lingtian's mouth. The little girl from all those years ago had grown to such a stage now. He could not help but sigh. Xuanai brought Little White back. I wonder if Little Black and Little White came back together. Duan Lingtian could not help but think of the other two little fellows when he thought of Xuanai and Little White, the little black python and the little gold mouse. At that time, the three little fellows had left with Xuanai. They had been gone for many years. Now that he heard that they had returned, the memories that had been sealed in the depths of Duan Lingtian's mind gushed out. I'll bring Kerr, Little Fei and Tianwu back to Cloud Continent after the matter with the overseas Saint Islands is settled. It's been so many years, I really miss them. Duan Lingtian had a plan in his mind. Han Xuanai's figure and the three little fellows' figures flashed past his mind. According to Emperor Wu, Xuanai still looks the same as before. As for the three little fellows, they've already taken human form. If I see them again, I'm afraid I won't be able to recognize them. Thinking of this, Duan Lingtian's heart inexplicably trembled. Did you just say that they are demon emperors? Duan Lingtian looked at Emperor Wu. He recalled what Emperor Wu had just said. Between the two of them, the yellow-clothed girl is the leader, and the white-clothed girl can easily defeat me. With her strength, as long as she wants to, she can kill me anytime. Emperor Wu smiled bitterly and said, if they are not monster monarchs, then what are they? Although human martial artists could retain their youthful looks after breaking through to the martial monarch stage, it was difficult to tell their age. However, the yellow-clothed girl looked to be only 15 or 16 years old. Breaking through to the martial emperor realm at the age of 15 or 16 and staying young forever. Was that even possible? As for the white-clothed little girl, she did not look more than 10 years old. It was even more impossible for her to break through to the martial monarch stage before she was 10 years old. Therefore, he concluded that regardless of whether it was the yellow-clothed girl or the white-clothed little girl, they were not humans but demon beasts. To be more precise, they were demon beasts that had taken human form. Little White is so powerful now. Upon hearing Emperor Wu's words, Duan Lingtian was shocked. He did not expect this. After so many years, the little white python from back then had already become so powerful. Duan Lingtian, who left Emperor Wu Shiqi and turned to chase after the people from Lingxian Peak, felt emotional. How shocking! Even Little White has broken through to the Emperor stage and become a demon emperor powerhouse. I'm afraid Little Black and Little Gold have also become demon emperor powerhouses. There's also Xuanai. Duan Lingtian sighed when he recalled the mischievous yellow-clothed girl. He still remembered. All those years ago, he'd met Han Xuanai in the Azure Forest Imperial Kingdom's 7-star sword sect. At that time, he'd even guessed that Han Xuanai was very likely to be the young miss of a powerful force in the Dark Han dynasty. In the end, he realized Han Xuanai was not from the Dark Han dynasty. Later on, he had also guessed Han Xuanai was from the Han clan of the ancient clan on Cloud Continent. However, based on the current situation, it did not seem to be the case. Xuanai should not be from the Cloud Continent. In that case, there are only two possibilities. She's either from the overseas Saint Islands or the Dao Martial Saint Land. Between the two possibilities, Duan Lingtian was more inclined to the latter. Han Xuanai was from the Dao Martial Saint Land. The Dao Martial Saint Land, to Duan Lingtian, that was a place filled with the unknown. There were as many powerhouses as there were clouds there. Even a martial emperor powerhouse from Cloud Continent would only be a mere existence at the innate void restoration stage when they arrived there. An innate void restoration stage powerhouse was nothing in the Dao Martial Saint Land. Due to the fact that the soul of Wang Ba, who claimed to be a saint stage powerhouse, was hidden in his body, Duan Lingtian was not unfamiliar with some things in the Dao Martial Saint Land. Duan Lingtian's heart was as calm as the sea as he flew on the sea. He did not catch up to the people from Lingxian Peak. This was because the people from Lingxian Peak had already arrived at the place where the Hidden Fog martial competition was going to be held. It was a vast and calm sea. Now the sky above this sea was filled with people, densely packed together. Duan Lingtian could not help but wonder if all the people from the hidden fog island were here as well. Duan Lingtian soon found the two girls and the people from Lingxian Peak. He flew over and arrived next to them. "It's settled?" Yang Hui asked with a smile. Duan Lingtian nodded. At this moment, Zhou Yi, who was standing behind Martial Emperor Lei Ming among the group of people from Thundercloud Peak, who were led by Martial Emperor Lei Ming, had a sudden change of expression. "Why's he here?" Zhou Yi stared at the purple-clad young man in the distance. His expression was grave. Naturally, he was no stranger to this purple-clad young man. He was the person who had barged into Lost Stone Forest in an attempt to rescue Feng Tianwu, whom he had kidnapped. He was Duan Lingtian, the sect leader of Lingtian sect. When he saw Duan Lingtian, he immediately thought of the intense battle between Duan Lingtian and Emperor Wu. "That's right. His stone tablet is already in my hands. Why should I be afraid of him since he doesn't have the stone tablet to rely on?" Soon after, Zhou Yi calmed down. Putting aside the fact that Duan Lingtian no longer had the mysterious stone tablet to rely on and could not cast the secret method, Zhou Yi was no longer the same as before. Currently, he had already broken through to Emperor Wu's stage. He was no longer the same as before. "I've studied that stone tablet for so long, but I still can't decipher its secret. It seems like God is helping me by sending him to me." Zhou Yi's eyes lit up as he looked at Duan Lingtian, as though he had just seen a peerless treasure. Previously, he had seen this purple-clad young man use the stone tablet to cast the secret method and display an extremely powerful strength. Therefore, he concluded that Duan Lingtian knew how to use the stone tablet. "As long as I learn how to use the stone tablet to cast the secret method, with my current cultivation base, even Thundercloud Emperor Wu might not be a match for me if I use the secret method." Zhou Yi could not help but feel excited when he thought of this. When Zhou Yi was staring at Duan Lingtian with bright eyes, Duan Lingtian was also looking at him. However, Duan Lingtian only glanced at him before he looked at the old man standing in front of him. "He's the owner of Thundercloud Peak, Thundercloud Emperor Wu?" "Brother Yang." Duan Lingtian looked at Yang Hui and asked through voice transmission. "That Thundercloud Emperor Wu, is he very powerful?" "Very powerful." Although Yang Hui did not know why Duan Lingtian was suddenly interested in Thundercloud Emperor Wu, he still replied. "In the ears of the public Emperor Wu powerhouses on Cloud Continent, Thundercloud Emperor Wu and Yuhan Emperor Wu can be ranked in the top 3. So powerful?" Upon hearing this, Duan Lingtian could not help but feel shocked. He had seen Yuhan Emperor Wu's strength before. He was very powerful. Even if Yuhan Emperor Wu did not use his spirit weapon and had a chance to cast the colossal aerolite arrow, with his current strength, he would only be able to fight Yuhan Emperor Wu to a draw at most. Previously, he was able to break Yuhan Emperor Wu's heaven and earth wipeout with just one arrow, because Yuhan Emperor Wu was not prepared at all. If he had shot that arrow at Yuhan Emperor Wu, Yuhan Emperor Wu would definitely have reacted immediately and blocked his arrow with his spirit weapon. If Yuhan Emperor Wu used his spirit weapon, killing him would be a piece of cake. His current strength was equivalent to Yuhan Emperor Wu when he did not use his spirit weapon. He was stronger than Emperor Wu, who was at 4th stage realm, but weaker than an ordinary Emperor Wu who was at 5th stage realm. "It seems like I can only wait for the Hidden Fog martial competition to start before I have a chance to kill Zhou Yi and snatch the Devil Seal tablet from him," Duan Lingtian thought to himself. With Lei Ming Emperor Wu around, he could not use force. If he did, he would only die. Zhou Yi was also thinking about how he could find an opportunity to coerce Duan Lingtian to reveal the secret of the mysterious tablet in his possession. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Suddenly, the sound of wind whistling could be heard from the horizon. 6 figures could be seen flying over from afar. They were getting closer and closer. The 6 of them were led by a young man in a green robe. The young man held a folding fan in his hand and wore a silk headband on his head. He looked like a scholar. He exuded a gentle and refined aura from head to toe. There was an old man, a middle-aged man, and 3 young men behind him. The 6 of them came in a mighty manner. When they got closer to the people present, they gave off a strong sense of oppression. It was so oppressive that many people felt suffocated. 5 Emperor Wu stage powerhouses? Duan Lingtian narrowed his eyes and looked at the 5 people behind the young scholar in shock. The 5 of them did not deliberately conceal their auras. As long as one was at the martial emperor stage or above, one would be able to clearly sense their martial emperor stage cultivation base. That's not right. There should be 6 of them. Soon, Duan Lingtian's gaze landed on the young scholar in the lead. Since he was escorted by 5 Emperor Wu powerhouses, he must be someone above the Emperor Wu stage. Moreover, his ability must be more powerful than the 5 Emperor Wu powerhouses. He's the 3rd island master of the Hidden Fog Island? Duan Lingtian thought to himself. As far as he knew, the Hidden Fog martial competition today was hosted by the 3rd island master of the Hidden Fog Island, Qingxian Emperor Wu. Chapter 1296. The respectful voice came from Yang Hui, the Emperor Wu of the Profound Spirit Realm. Qingxian Emperor Wu? Duan Lingtian's gaze landed on the young scholar again. At that moment, he realized he was not the 3rd island master of the Hidden Fog Island. However, someone who could make Yang Hui respectful must not be a simple person. One must know that Yang Hui did not show such respect, even when he was facing Emperor Wu of Thunder and Emperor Wu of Yuhan. He could see it. Yang Hui was respectful to Qingxian Emperor Wu from the bottom of his heart. Of course, there was something that Duan Lingtian did not know. That was Yang Hui's honorific title Ling Xian. The word Xian was taken from martial Emperor Qingxian's honorific title. Profound Spirit and Qingxian were only one word apart. It represented Yang Hui's respect to Qingxian Emperor Wu. Greetings, Lord Qingxian. Soon Duan Lingtian witnessed a shocking scene. Most of the Cloud Continent Emperor Wu powerhouses, including Yang Hui, the Emperor Wu of the Profound Spirit Realm, bowed to the young scholar. Even Emperor Wu of Thunder and Emperor Wu of Yuhan were no exception. They were all bowing to the young scholar. The scene shocked many people. This Qingxian Emperor Wu, who exactly is he? Their hearts were filled with astonishment. Of course, some of them had heard of Qingxian Emperor Wu. Qingxian Emperor Wu is the current Emperor Wu of the Cloud Continent. He's the person who stands at the peak of the human race on the Cloud Continent. Cloud Continent Emperor Wu of the Cloud Continent? As someone introduced Qingxian Emperor Wu, many people were stunned again. So, he's the Emperor Wu of the Cloud Continent, Qingxian Emperor Wu. I've heard some of the Emperor Wu powerhouses from the Cloud Continent mention him. It is said that his cultivation is above the 7th level of the Emperor Wu realm. A Hidden Fog Island's martial artist said, Emperor Wu's 7th tier? Doesn't that mean he's on par with the 3 Hidden Fog Island masters? Many of the Hidden Fog Island's martial artists exclaimed in shock. There had long been rumors in the Hidden Fog Island that the 3 island masters were all at least at the 7th level of the Emperor Wu realm. Their abilities were profound. I really couldn't tell. Such a weak-looking young scholar is actually the strongest person in Cloud Continent, Emperor Wu. The group of Hidden Fog Island's martial artists whispered to each other as shock filled their faces. Emperor Wu's number 1? Listening to the whispers around him, Duan Lingtian's pupils couldn't help but shrink. He stared at the young scholar, who was smiling at a group of strong cultivators of Emperor Wu, who was none other than the Emperor Wu of Qingxian. This Emperor Wu of Qingxian is the strongest person in Cloud Continent. The current Emperor Wu? Doesn't that mean his position on Cloud Continent is equivalent to the reincarnation Emperor Wu from 20,000 years ago? Duan Lingtian was secretly shocked. Ah, Qingxian, you're early. Before Duan Lingtian could recover from his shock, a laughter that was like the sound of a large bell sounded from afar, and it reverberated like thunder in his ears. Many of the Hidden Fog Island's martial artists with a low cultivation base had a change of expression. Some of them even had their eardrums ruptured and blood spurted out of their ears. Whoosh! As soon as the bell-like laughter died down, a gust of wind blew past. A person appeared in front of the crowd. It was a bearded hunk in armor. The bearded hunk in bronze armor had a ferocious look on his face. He had a stocky back and a bear-like waist. His body was like an iron tower. As he stood there, he gave off an invisible sense of oppression. It was so oppressive that some of the people with a lower cultivation base could not breathe. As soon as the bearded hunk appeared, 10 people appeared behind him. 3 of them stood in front while 7 of them stood behind. Their identities and positions were clearly distinguished. Man Wu. Qing Xian Emperor Wu nodded at the bearded hunk as a form of greeting. Qing Xian, I lost the battle 3 years ago. It's been 3 years, and I've improved a lot. When are you going to battle me again? I want to defeat you and avenge my humiliation. The bearded hunk, who was called Man Wu, said. His tone was magnanimous. As soon as he said that, the group of people including Duan Lingtian, who had just found out about Qing Xian Emperor Wu's background, were still calm. The others, on the other hand, were all aghast. The people who were shocked were those who knew about Martial Emperor Ling Xian's background. Many people, including Yang Hui, Emperor Wu Laming, Emperor Wu Yuhan, Emperor Wu Qiuli, and other demon emperors were shocked. Demon Emperor Man Wu, the strongest demon emperor on Cloud Continent. He was defeated by Lord Qing Xian 3 years ago? Many people were shocked. Even the 10 people behind Demon Emperor Man Wu were shocked. Obviously, this was the first time they had heard Demon Emperor Man Wu mention this. It seems like only Martial Emperor Qing Xian and Demon Emperor Man Wu know about this. However, it seems like Demon Emperor Man Wu is quite a sensitive person, since he's willing to reveal his embarrassing incident in front of so many people. After a while, Duan Lingtian finally understood what was going on. Man Wu, I only won the battle 3 years ago. If you're determined to fight me again, I'll gladly oblige. However, let's wait until the Hidden Fog martial competition is over. Even in the face of Demon Emperor Man Wu's challenge, Qing Xian Emperor Wu still had a smile on his face. All right, Demon Emperor Man Wu nodded without hesitation. Then he led his 10 disciples to the side. Lord Man Wu. Lord Man Wu. At this moment, a group of demon emperors from Cloud Continent bowed at Demon Emperor Man Wu. Demon Emperor Man Wu's status among the demon beasts on Cloud Continent was equivalent to Qing Xian Emperor Wu's status among the humans on Cloud Continent. I didn't expect Lord Qing Xian to defeat Demon Emperor Man Wu 3 years ago. Doesn't that mean Lord Qing Xian is not only the strongest demon emperor on Cloud Continent, but also the strongest person on Cloud Continent? An Emperor Wu powerhouse from Cloud Continent, who came to Hidden Fog Island to cultivate many years ago, exclaimed. The strongest person on Cloud Continent. At this moment, not only the people from Cloud Continent, but also the people from Hidden Fog Island looked at Qing Xian with reverence in their eyes. It was reverence that came from the bottom of their hearts. Qing Xian Emperor Wu is really low-key. The 5 people behind him don't seem to know that he defeated Demon Emperor Man Wu. Duan Lingtian had long noticed the shock on the faces of the 5 Emperor Wu powerhouses behind Emperor Wu. He was also shocked by the fact that Qing Xian Emperor Wu had defeated Demon Emperor Man Wu. At this moment, the 10 people from Lost Stone Forest left with Emperor Wu after Shirqi left. Almost everyone from Cloud Continent who came to participate in the Hidden Fog martial competition had arrived. Now we're waiting for the 3rd Island Master. The Hidden Fog martial competition will officially begin when the 3rd Island Master arrives. Many Hidden Fog Island martial artists said, our Hidden Fog Island's core disciples don't seem to have arrived yet. There were also some people who noticed this. There are many Inner Island disciples and Outer Island disciples who came to watch the show. However, the core disciples are nowhere to be seen. The Hidden Fog Island's disciples were divided into the core disciples, Inner Island disciples, and Outer Island disciples. Their identities could be identified by the tokens they carried around their waists. Now many Inner Island disciples and Outer Island disciples had arrived, but the core disciples were nowhere to be seen. They're here. Someone shouted. Then, the sound of wind whistling could be heard from afar. Along with the sound of wind whistling, silhouettes moved as fast as lightning. In the blink of an eye, these silhouettes appeared in front of the crowd and revealed themselves. These people had one thing in common. The token on their waists had the word core carved on it. It was obvious that they were the Hidden Fog Island's core disciples. One of the core disciples' eyes lit up, as though he had discovered something. Whoosh! Subsequently, he moved toward the group of people from Yuhan Valley. He looked at Yuhan Emperor Wu and smiled. Senior Yuhan. Chen Xiaoya. Yuhan Emperor Wu was extremely courteous to the Hidden Fog Island's core disciple. This was because other than being a Hidden Fog Island's core disciple, he had another shocking identity. He was the only son of the second island master of Hidden Fog Island. One could imagine how much the second island master of Hidden Fog Island doted on his son. Senior Yuhan, are the two junior sisters here? The person standing in front of Yuhan Emperor Wu was the Hidden Fog Island's core disciple Qinji. Among the Hidden Fog Island's core disciples, Qinji might not be the strongest. However, he was definitely the most lecherous. Ever since he knew that there were two beautiful female disciples in Yuhan Valley, Qinji had evil thoughts. As for the two female disciples' fiancés, he did not care about them at all. In his opinion, he could just kill them. Qinji said as he scanned the people behind Yuhan Emperor Wu. He seemed to be looking for the two beauties. Unfortunately, there were only 8 people in front of him. Although there were 8 women, they were just ordinary women in his eyes. They did not pique his interest. Chen Xiaoya, I'm afraid I can't fulfill my promise to you that day. Yuhan Emperor Wu sighed. Qinji's expression changed drastically. Senior Yuhan, what do you mean? Are you going back on your word? That day, when Qinji heard that Martial Emperor Yuhan had 2 beautiful female disciples under her, he immediately went to ask for her hand in marriage, and Martial Emperor Yuhan agreed. Now, Yuhan Emperor Wu was saying that he could not fulfill his promise to him? It's not that I want to go back on my word. My 2 disciples lost their minds and ran away with the kid from Lingxian Peak. They betrayed Yuhan Valley. Now I can't make decisions for them. Yuhan Emperor Wu looked in the direction of the people from Lingxian Peak as he said that. Qinji followed Yuhan Emperor Wu's gaze and looked over. With just a glance, his eyes widened. Oh my God! How could there be such beautiful women in this world? 2 graceful figures appeared in front of Qinji. Qinji was dumbstruck as he stared blankly at them. One of them was a woman who wore light purple clothes. Her soft long hair draped over her shoulders, and a jade belt was wrapped around her slender waist. Although her slender legs were covered, it couldn't hide her peerless beauty. In particular, her beautiful face, which was close to perfection, caused people to be unable to help but be dazzled. Curved eyebrows, quick-witted autumn eyes, a tall and straight nose and cherry-like little lips. Chapter 1297. Qinji's breathing became more and more rapid. His gaze reluctantly moved away from the purple-clothed woman and landed on the other woman beside her. This lady had the childishness of a young girl and was as obedient as a pretty girl from a humble family. One could not help but feel pity for her. It was difficult to find any flaws in her pretty face. Exquisite! Exquisite! Qinji's eyes lit up. He was almost drooling. Senior Yuhan, is it them? Qinji swallowed a mouthful of saliva and asked while breathing heavily. That's right, it's them. The purple-clad young man beside them is their fiancé, Duan Lingtian. Yuhan Emperor Wu nodded as he spoke unhurriedly. It was as though he wanted to stir up trouble. Whoosh! As soon as Yuhan Emperor Wu finished speaking, Qinji transformed into a gust of wind and disappeared. When he reappeared, he was already in front of the group of people from Lingxian Peak. To be precise, he appeared in front of Ke and Li Fei. Junior sisters, your master has already betrothed you to me. When my father comes out of seclusion in a few days, let's get married. Qinji flashed a smile that he thought was brilliant as he spoke to Ke and Li Fei. Ke and Li Fei were stunned when they heard Qinji's words. They turned to look at Yuhan Emperor Wu in unison, and realized that the Emperor Wu was also looking at them. Yuhan Emperor Wu's eyes were filled with indifference. Ke and Li Fei's faces instantly darkened. You've got the wrong person. Sister Ke and I do have the same master, but she passed away a few years ago. Li Fei said to Qinji indifferently. Your junior sister Li Fei, right? Qinji's eyes were filled with passion as he sized up Li Fei. As the saying goes, a teacher for a day is a parent for life. It's unwise for you to sever ties with your master for a piece of trash. Trash. Hearing Qinji's words, Li Fei's beautiful face was covered with a layer of frost. How could her man be insulted by others? Ke's face also darkened, and a cold light flashed in her eyes. A dragon had a reverse scale. Touching it would result in death. The two girls' reverse scale was without a doubt Duan Lingtian. Just as the two girls were about to make a move, a tall figure stood in front of them. Like a mountain, he protected them behind him, giving them a sense of security. The person who made the move was none other than Duan Lingtian. Scram! Duan Lingtian looked at Chenji coldly. His mouth moved slightly as he slowly spat out a word. The smile on Chenji's face froze at that instant. As a core disciple of the Hidden Fog Island, and the only son of the second island master of the Hidden Fog Island, even the group of Hidden Fog Island elders had to show him respect. Not to mention other core disciples, inner island disciples and outer island disciples. This was the first time in his life that someone dared to tell him to scram. Brat, do you know who I am? Chenji stared at Duan Lingtian with a gloomy expression. I don't care who you are. Duan Lingtian shouted coldly. As soon as his words left his mouth, he shook both of his arms and moved as fast as lightning. In the blink of an eye, the five-colored energy left his arms and landed on Chenji's body. Bang! With a loud bang, Chenji, who was defenseless, was sent flying. Poof! Barf! Chenji, who was sent flying like an arrow, spat out a mouthful of blood along the way. The blood fell into the air like blooming red roses. It was so red that it was almost purple. It was obvious that he had suffered a serious internal injury. Silence. The scene was dead silent. Even the Hidden Fog Island disciples who usually hung out with Chenji were stunned. They did not even have time to check on Chenji's injuries. Good. The first person to react was Yuhan Emperor Wu. Yuhan Emperor Wu looked at Duan Lingtian and said, "You're angry for a woman. Duan Lingtian, you're really brave." Thank you for the compliment, Yuhan Emperor Wu. Duan Lingtian glanced at Yuhan Emperor Wu nonchalantly. He had already guessed that Chenji had come looking for him, because Yuhan Emperor Wu had provoked him on purpose. However, did Yuhan Emperor Wu really think that a guy who was only at the second stage of Emperor Wu stage could threaten him? Or perhaps his identity is not simple. All of a sudden, a thought flashed in Duan Lingtian's mind. However, even then, his face was still as calm as usual. There was no fear at all. If he was afraid of the other party's identity and background, and allowed the other party to be rude to his woman, then he would not be a proper man. Senior Brother Chen. At this moment, many Hidden Fog Island disciples finally reacted and rushed toward the direction where Chenji flew out. Although Chenji's character was not good, and the core disciples of Hidden Fog Island were dissatisfied with him, nobody was willing to offend him because of his identity. At the same time, many people wanted to curry favor with him because of his identity. Now it was undoubtedly the best opportunity to do so. Therefore, many of the Hidden Fog Island's disciples moved and charged toward Chenji. They looked like a pack of dogs fighting for a bone. It was an exaggerated sight. Duan Lingtian? No one noticed that when Yuhan Emperor Wu was talking to Duan Lingtian. Qing Xian Emperor Wu raised his eyebrows slightly and looked at Duan Lingtian strangely. It was just a glance, but he withdrew his gaze. However, in the depths of his eyes, there was a hint of surprise mixed in. So he's Duan Lingtian. Qing Xian Emperor Wu mumbled to himself as if he knew Duan Lingtian. This young man is really bold. He even dared to hurt Chenji. At this moment, many Hidden Fog Island martial artists reacted and looked at Duan Lingtian as they whispered among themselves. Their eyes were filled with pity without exception. It was as if Duan Lingtian would be killed by revenge soon. Chenji is the only son of the second island master. Putting aside the fact that he might not be Chenji's match, even if he could defeat Chenji, the second island master would not let him go. Someone said, earlier, most people thought that Duan Lingtian injured Chenji because of his sneak attack. In terms of strength, he might not be able to win against Chenji in a fair battle. The son of the second island master of Hidden Fog Island? That person is the son of the second island master of Hidden Fog Island? Moreover, he's the only son? At this moment, many of Emperor Wu's disciples and Demon Emperor's disciples from Cloud Continent were shocked. This was something that they did not expect. At this moment, there was a hint of pity in their eyes when they looked at Duan Lingtian. Yang Hui's expression changed drastically. Naturally, He knew what it meant to be the only son of the second island master of Hidden Fog Island. The second island master of Hidden Fog Island. I heard that he's on Emperor Wu Stage 8. Even Lord Qing Xian might not be his match. Yang Hui was completely disheartened. He looked at Duan Lingtian immediately, and urged him through voice transmission. Brother Lingtian, quickly take the two sisters-in-law and run. You've injured the son of the second island master of Hidden Fog Island. It's equivalent to offending the second island master of Hidden Fog Island. He won't let you go. Yang Hui's voice transmission was filled with anxiety. Ke and Li Fei's expressions changed. At the same time, they looked at Yuhan's Emperor Wu coldly. At this moment, they realized that everything that happened before them was Yuhan's Emperor Wu's scheme. Yuhan's Emperor Wu was the man who wanted to kill them. Run! Upon hearing Yang Hui's words, Duan Lingtian shook his head. His gaze immediately shifted to the distance. There was an old man who was escorted by a young man and a young woman. They flew across the sky and arrived at the venue of the Hidden Fog martial competition in just a blink of an eye. The old man wore a copper robe. His long hair was tied up by a hairband, and his white eyebrows were straight. He looked majestic without being angry. Although the old man had white hair and white eyebrows, his face was like that of a middle-aged man. It was impossible to tell that he was over 70 years old. He had white hair and a youthful face. As for the young man behind the old man, he was handsome, and his eyebrows were somewhat similar to the old man's. As for the young woman, her eyes were completely devoid of light. She stood there like a walking corpse. It set off her pale face, which was devoid of blood, and added a bit of evilness. Unlike the young man's handsomeness, the young woman looked ordinary. She was the kind of person who would not stand out if she was thrown into a crowd. She looked very ordinary. Of course, it was just that she would not stand out if she was thrown into a crowd. Her evilness was one of a kind. Third Island Master. Third Island Master. After the copper-robed old man appeared, the group of Hidden Fog Island's core disciples bowed to him. The remaining group of Hidden Fog Island's Inner Island disciples, Outer Island disciples, and Hidden Fog Island's martial artists followed suit and bowed to the copper-robed old man. There was only one person from Hidden Fog Island who did not bow to the copper-robed old man. This person was none other than Chen Ji. How dare you sneak an attack on me? Chen Ji ignored the third island master of the Hidden Fog Island, who had just arrived, and glared at Duan Lingtian. His voice was filled with coldness as he spoke. However, Duan Lingtian ignored him. Duan Lingtian's gaze landed on the third island master of Hidden Fog Island. He knew that since the third island master of Hidden Fog Island had arrived, it meant that the Hidden Fog martial competition was about to begin. However, he did not know if the third island master of Hidden Fog Island would stand up for Chen Ji. I won't kill you right away. I'll keep you alive and torture you slowly. Chen Ji flew out like a sharp arrow that left the bowstring, and shot towards Duan Lingtian in a menacing manner. In his opinion, the reason he was injured by Duan Lingtian earlier was that Duan Lingtian had sneaked an attack on him. He was caught off guard. If he had been on guard, he would not have been hit. He was confident that his ability was above Duan Lingtian's. Just when the origin energy in Duan Lingtian's body was stirred and ready to attack Chen Ji, a voice rang out. Enough! A soft shout that was filled with dissatisfaction was transmitted over, causing Chen Ji's body to come to a halt. Third Island Master. He injured me earlier. I must avenge him. Chen Ji looked at the Third Island Master and said in a deep voice. Chapter 1298. The Hidden Fog martial competition is about to begin. You'll have plenty of chances to take revenge later. Now stop embarrassing the Hidden Fog Island. The third island master of the Hidden Fog Island said in a deep voice with a cold gaze. Chen Ji seemed to be afraid of the third island master of the Hidden Fog Island. He glanced at Duan Lingtian and snorted coldly. I'll let you live a little longer. I'll make sure you die a graveless death in the Hidden Fog martial competition. I'll wait and see. Duan Lingtian calmed down the turbulent origin energy in his body. He glanced at Chen Ji nonchalantly, as though he did not care about Chen Ji at all. In fact, he really did not care about Chen Ji at all. The third island master of the Hidden Fog Island seems to hate Chen Ji. At that moment, Duan Lingtian noticed that. Apart from that, he also noticed that the young man behind the third island master of the hidden fog island had a fierce gleam in his eyes when he looked at Qinji. It seems like Qinji is not that popular on the hidden fog island. However, Qinji's father is the second island master of the hidden fog island. Theoretically, he should have a good relationship with the third island master of the hidden fog island. I wonder why the third island master hates Qinji so much. Duan Lingtian could not figure it out no matter how hard he thought about it. However, Duan Lingtian had no idea. The third island master of the hidden fog island once had a female direct disciple who was talented and loved by him. However, she chose to commit suicide because she was defiled by Qinji. If the second island master did not protect Qinji, and the first island master did not intervene, he would have killed Qinji long ago. Although it had been many years since that incident, his hatred for Qinji did not decrease at all. Although he had promised the first island master that he would not kill Qinji, he did not treat Qinji well when he saw him. The young man behind the third island master was the third island master's grandson. Many years ago, the third island master's direct disciple who was defiled by Qinji was his senior sister. They were engaged. His fiancée was defiled and committed suicide. One could imagine how much he hated Qinji. Qinji, one day, I will kill you and avenge Kair. The young man stared at Qinji with cold killing intent. However, he knew that he was no match for Qinji with his current strength. Among the crowd of onlookers, Emperor Wu's expression darkened. She did not expect the third island master of the hidden fog island to appear at this moment. It completely disrupted her plan. According to her original plan, Duan Lingtian would kill Qinji. Once Qinji was dead, she would be able to kill Duan Lingtian and obtain his spatial ring. Since he's the third reincarnation of the reincarnation Emperor Wu, I'm sure he has many rare treasures in his possession. The reason why she waited for Qinji to die was that she was worried that the powerhouse from the hidden fog island would save Duan Lingtian. In her opinion, once Duan Lingtian killed Qinji, the only son of the second island master of the hidden fog island, the hidden fog island's powerhouse would no longer stand up for Duan Lingtian. Now she no longer hoped to enslave Duan Lingtian. She only wanted to obtain the spatial ring in Duan Lingtian's hand. However, the timely appearance of the third island master of the hidden fog island completely disrupted her plan. At this moment, the third island master of the hidden fog island began to announce the rules of the hidden fog martial competition after greeting the group of Emperor Wu powerhouses and Demon Emperor powerhouses from the Cloud Continent. Only the top 30 people in the hidden fog martial competition can advance to the next round. Those who advance will receive a certain reward. Especially the top 10 people. Anyone who recommends them will receive an additional reward. The third island master of the hidden fog island enunciated each word clearly. Many people's eyes lit up immediately. The hidden fog martial competition was organized by the hidden fog island, so the rewards would not be bad. A gleam flashed across Duan Lingtian's eyes. Naturally, he knew what the additional reward that the third island master of the hidden fog island mentioned was. It was none other than Saint Stones. After the hidden fog martial competition ended, the Cloud Continent's Emperor Wu powerhouses and Demon Emperor powerhouses, who recommended the person who ranked first would receive 10 Saint Stones. The second and third place would receive 5 Saint Stones each. The fourth, fifth, and sixth place would receive 3 Saint Stones each. The 7th to 10th place would only receive 1 Saint Stone each. He had already learned about this from the Spirit Profound Realm Emperor Wu. On top of that, once the hidden fog martial competition begins, unless you admit defeat. Otherwise you'll die. Once one of you admits defeat, the other party can't make a move. If anyone disregards the rules, I'll intervene. The third island master of the hidden fog island continued. Life or death. At once, some of the Emperor Wu's disciples who had a lower cultivation base had a slight change of expression. Their hearts became heavy as they thought about surrendering immediately if they encountered an opponent whom they could not defeat. As soon as the third island master of the hidden fog island finished speaking, Duan Lingtian could clearly feel a ruthless and vicious gaze landing on him. He did not need to lift his head to know who it was. Qinji. Soon after, the third island master of the Hidden Fog Island continued speaking, and the Hidden Fog martial competition officially began. The rules of the Hidden Fog martial arts competition were very simple. Round after round of eliminations, until there were only 30 people left. That would be the end of the first round. All 30 of them could advance to the next round. After advancing, the top 10 would be determined from the 30 people. That would be the second round of the martial competition. The third round of the martial competition would determine the exact ranking of the top 10 people. Subsequently, it was time to draw lots. As the participants of the Hidden Fog martial competition received their lots, the Hidden Fog martial competition officially began. Time passed by quietly. Gradually, even Duan Lingtian could not help but suspect that the third island master of the Hidden Fog Island had done something to the lots. Otherwise, it would not be so coincidental. In the first round of the martial competition, none of the Emperor Wu powerhouses met another Emperor Wu powerhouse. All of the Emperor Wu powerhouse's opponents were only on the martial Emperor realm. Would such a situation happen if the lots were drawn normally? Duan Lingtian believed that with the third island master of the Hidden Fog Island's powerful spiritual power, they would not be able to find out even if he were to spy on their cultivation base. It was because their abilities were too far apart from his. After the lots were drawn, the battle was one-sided. One could imagine the outcome of the battle between the Emperor Wu realm and the martial Emperor realm. In the end, the 30 people who advanced were revealed. 26 of them were on the Emperor Wu realm. Among them, 5 were under the Emperor Wu of Qingxian. However, they were still inferior to the core disciples of the Emperor Wu realm on the Hidden Fog Island. There were a total of 7 core disciples of the Emperor Wu realm on the Hidden Fog Island, including Chunji. The young lady behind the third island master of the Hidden Fog Island was also a core disciple of the Emperor Wu realm. Although the other young man was not a core disciple of the Emperor Wu realm, he was at the peak of the martial Emperor realm. Out of the 30 people who advanced, 26 of them were Emperor Wu powerhouses. Only 4 of them were at the peak of the martial Emperor realm. They were half a step away from the Emperor Wu realm. The young man, the grandson of the third island master of the Hidden Fog Island, was among them. On Ling Xian Peak's side, only Duan Lingtian and Zhou Di made it to the next round. The remaining 8 people were eliminated. On Yuhan Valley's side, only Su Rong made it to the next round. On Thundercloud Peak's side, Lan Bai and Zhou Yi made it to the next round. On the other hand, some of the disciples under the Emperor Wu powerhouses and Demon Emperor powerhouses from the Cloud Continent made it to the next round. Almost all of them were at the Emperor Wu realm. Of course, there were 2 who were at the peak of the martial Emperor realm. The last person who made it to the peak of the martial Emperor realm was also a core disciple of the Hidden Fog Island. In other words, out of the 10 core disciples from the Hidden Fog Island who participated in the Hidden Fog martial competition today, 9 of them made it to the next round. Only 1 of them did not make it to the next round. At once, the core disciples from the Hidden Fog Island became the center of attention. That's amazing. As expected of the Hidden Fog Island's core disciples from the overseas Saint Island, only 1 of them was eliminated in the first round of the Hidden Fog martial competition. What a coincidence. There's no Emperor Wu powerhouse going against another Emperor Wu powerhouse in the first round of the martial competition. The third island master must have done something when they were drawing the lots earlier. Actually, it's understandable. The best part should be left to the end, so that people can look forward to it. You're right. The crowd of onlookers became lively. They were looking forward to the second round of the martial competition. They knew very well. In the second round of the martial competition, there would be an Emperor Wu powerhouse going against an Emperor Wu powerhouse. That would be the most exciting and anticipated scene. Zhou Yi has actually made a breakthrough to the Emperor Wu stage. Duan Lingtian looked at Zhou Yi from afar. He could not hide the shock on his face. Although Zhou Yi did not unleash his full strength when he attacked earlier, he could clearly see that Zhou Yi had already made a breakthrough to the Emperor Wu stage. This female disciple from Thundercloud Peak is even more powerful than Zhou Yi. After Duan Lingtian shifted his gaze away from Zhou Yi, it landed on the woman next to him. This lady was not inferior to any man. Her strength was far above Zhou Yi's. The woman Duanling Tian was staring at was none other than Thundercloud Peak's martial emperor Lei Ming's favorite direct disciple, Lan Bai. The 5 people brought by Qing Xian Emperor Wu have all made a breakthrough. However, they're all at the Emperor Wu stage, so it's not surprising that they made a breakthrough. Duanling Tian continued to look at the 5 people brought by Qing Xian Emperor Wu. Soon Duanling Tian looked at Chili Emperor Wu. To be exact, he was looking at Dong, who was next to Chili Emperor Wu. He was no stranger to Dong Hu. They had even fought before. You're lucky in the first round of the martial competition. You might not be as lucky in the second round. Chen Ji stood in the distance as he stared fixedly at Duanling Tian. Flames of rage rose from the depths of his eyes, threatening to burst out at any moment. However, Duanling Tian ignored him from the beginning until the end. This made Chen Ji even angrier. The second round of the martial competition begins now. As the third island master of the Hidden Fog Island continued to speak, the second round of the Hidden Fog martial competition officially began. Among the spectators, many people who were originally sleepy seemed to have been injected with chicken blood. They widened their eyes and waited for the second round to begin. The second round of the martial competition began as scheduled. At this moment, Emperor Wu's powerhouse finally faced another Emperor Wu's powerhouse. Chapter 1299. In just a short while, 2 Emperor Wu powerhouses had fallen. Duanling Tian's first opponent in the second round of the martial competition was someone he did not want to meet the most. Thundercloud Peak's Lan Bai. As a Thundercloud Peak disciple, Zhou Yi must know Lan Bai's strength very well. If he sees that I'm capable of defeating Lan Bai, I'm afraid he'll admit defeat before I even make a move. Duanling Tian was slightly depressed. Initially, he had planned to kill Zhou Yi in the Hidden Fog martial competition and take back the Devil Seal tablet that originally belonged to him. However, it was a little troublesome now. Lan Bai was the direct disciple of the Thundercloud Peak's owner, Emperor Wu of Thundercloud Peak on Cloud Continent. According to Yang Hui, she was at the second level of Emperor Wu stage. She was extremely powerful. She was definitely stronger than Zhou Yi. Naturally, this little bit of strength was nothing to the current him. Not to mention he could defeat her without using the colossal aerolite arrow. He could even defeat her without using any martial skills. Forget it. I'll let her win for the Devil Seal tablet. Soon after, Duanling Tian made up his mind. Subsequently, under everyone's watchful eyes, Duanling Tian and Lan Bai's battle only lasted for about 10 breaths before he was completely defeated. In the end, it was as though he did not have the strength to fight back at all. However, all of this seemed flawless on the surface. Almost nobody, including Lan Bai herself, could see that Duanling Tian had intentionally lost. Congratulations, senior sister Bai. After Lan Bai won, Zhou Yi was the first to congratulate her. At the same time, he looked at Duanling Tian with a cold gleam in his eyes. Although this Duanling Tian has broken through to the Emperor Wu stage like me, he only lasted for about 10 breaths against senior sister Bai. His strength is far from mine. A few days ago, Zhou Yi had sparred with Lan Bai. Without more than 20 breaths, it would be difficult for Lan Bai to defeat him. Due to this reason, he concluded Duanling Tian was no match for him. Brother Ling Tian. Not far away, Yang Hui was stunned. As for Duanling Tian's defeat, those who didn't know his strength didn't think much of it. However, Yang Hui, as well as Ke and Li Fei, who were well aware of Duanling Tian's strength, were at a loss when they looked at Duanling Tian. They didn't know why Duanling Tian was giving in. They could all see that Duanling Tian had held back just now, and had deliberately lost to Lan Bai. I don't want to alert the enemy, Duanling Tian replied unhurriedly when faced with Yang Hui and the 2 girls' questioning voice transmissions. Alert the enemy? Hearing this, the 3 of them looked around for a while, but didn't find anything wrong. You dare to participate in the Hidden Fog martial competition with such little strength? Chen Ji sneered when he saw Duanling Tian was defeated just like that. Lan Bai's strength had always been in his eyes. Although her cultivation was similar to his in terms of strength, she was far inferior to him. However, Duan Lingtian was defeated by Lan Bai. As long as he dares to fight, I won't give him any chance to admit defeat. Chen Ji glared at Duan Lingtian coldly as he swore in his heart. Among the people present, besides Yang Hui, Ku Er, and Li Fei who were familiar with Duan Lingtian's strength, there was no one else who could see through the clues of the battle earlier. Cold Emperor Wu was undoubtedly one of them. She had fought Duan Lingtian before. Although it was only one hit, she was certain that Duan Lingtian's strength was definitely on par with a 4th-level Emperor Wu. He doesn't seem to know the female disciple from Thundercloud Peak, but he admitted defeat on purpose. He must be up to something. Cold Emperor Wu speculated as a gleam flashed in her eyes. However, she had no idea what he was up to. Apart from Cold Emperor Wu, there was another person who saw through the earlier battle. This person was none other than Qingxian Emperor Wu. Qingxian Emperor Wu glanced at Duan Lingtian. A gleam flashed in the depth of his eyes before he looked away. No one knew what he was thinking about. So this is his strength. If this is all he has, he'll definitely die if he encounters Chen Ji. Unless he surrenders in the beginning, he'll be in deep trouble. Many of the Hidden Fog Island's core disciples looked at Duan Lingtian from afar and whispered among themselves. Chen Ji's face darkened when he heard the whispers of the Hidden Fog Island's core disciples. He was worried that Duan Lingtian would be frightened by these core disciples. He was worried that Duan Lingtian would not dare to fight him when they encountered each other. He did not want to see this happen. However, he was destined to be overthinking. As time went by, the 4 peak martial emperors were eliminated one after another. One by one, Emperor Wu powerhouses were eliminated. At the same time, another 3 Emperor Wu powerhouses were killed. Among them, one of the Emperor Wu powerhouses who was killed was under Qingxian Emperor Wu. Even the Hidden Fog Island had lost 2 core disciples who were at the Emperor Wu realm. The battle was getting more and more intense. Wong! Spurt! Suddenly, an ear-piercing sound pierced through the air, accompanied by the clear sound of something entering a body. It sent chills down the spines of many people at the scene. A young lady with a pale face was performing a claw martial skill. Her claw pierced through her opponent's chest. Her pair of boneless hands then forcefully stuffed into her opponent's body. After a while, she withdrew her hands, and a heart that was still beating appeared in her hands. Smack! Just as the Emperor Wu powerhouse whose heart was dug out stopped breathing and fell to the ground, the young lady exerted force in her hands and crushed the heart that was dug out. Blood splattered everywhere. It was so dazzling that it sent chills down the spines of many people. Bloody! It's too bloody! Many people's faces turned pale as they were shocked. So powerful. Her ability has already broken through to Emperor Wu Realm Level 3. Duan Lingtian looked at the young woman, and his heart was filled with shock. The young lady with a pale face who was expressionless from the beginning until the end looked like a walking corpse. She was the young lady who followed the 3rd island master of the Hidden Fog Island here. Unlike most of the people, the 3rd island master of the Hidden Fog Island had a gratified expression on his face. This was because this lady was not only a core disciple of the Hidden Fog Island, but she was also his direct disciple as well. Soon after, Duan Lingtian entered the arena again. This was his last battle in the 2nd round of the Hidden Fog martial competition. As long as he won, he would be able to enter the top 10 in the Hidden Fog martial competition. At that time, he would be able to compete with the other 9 people for the top 10 ranking. However, until now, he had not encountered Zhou Yi. When Duan Lingtian entered the arena, his opponent entered the arena as well and confronted him. Do you guys think he'll admit defeat? Many people looked at Duan Lingtian and discussed among themselves. I think he'll definitely admit defeat. After all, he can't even win against that female powerhouse who lost to Chen Ji. Some people spoke as they looked in the direction of the people from Thundercloud Peak. Their eyes landed on Lan Bai. Lan Bai was defeated by Chen Ji earlier. I was wondering when they would encounter each other. I didn't expect them to encounter each other in the 2nd round. Most of the people looked at the scene before them as though they were on steroids. At this moment, the person who stood opposite Duan Lingtian was none other than Chen Ji. Chen Ji was the person who was sent flying by Duan Lingtian and was severely injured not long ago. He was also the only son of the second island master of the Hidden Fog Island. It seems like even the heavens are on my side. At this moment, Chunji's heart was filled with excitement as he stared at the purple-clad young man in front of him. In his opinion, since he had encountered his opponent, he would be able to kill him immediately to avenge his humiliation. That was not all. As long as he killed his opponent, his 2 women would be his as well. Chunji's heart was burning when he thought about the 2 beauties. At this moment, he was most worried that Duan Lingtian would admit defeat. If that happened, he would lose a great opportunity for revenge. This was not something he wanted to see. When Chunji looked over, Duan Lingtian was also looking at Chunji. His eyes were cold as ice. I didn't expect that I would meet him so soon. It's impossible for me to hand over the victory to him in this battle. I must win this battle. I can't lose. Duan Lingtian thought to himself as his eyes gleamed brightly. At this moment, he no longer cared about letting Zhou Yi know his true strength. Even if Zhou Yi feared him because of his next move, or even admitted defeat on his own accord when they met later on, he couldn't do anything about it. He only knew that he could let anyone win, but he could not let Chunji win. Moreover, he would teach Chunji an unforgettable lesson. Boy, I'll kill you soon. After I kill you, your fiancé will be mine. As soon as Chunji opened his mouth, he pointed at Kerr and Li Fei to provoke Duan Lingtian. Duan Lingtian was indeed enraged. You want to kill me? I'd like to see who's going to be the one who dies. Duan Lingtian replied coldly. He was unwilling to be outdone. There's no need to think about it. The person who dies will definitely not be me. Chunji sneered. His robe fluttered even though there was no wind. Milky white flames rose into the sky along with strands of energy of different colors. It was the origin energy and profundity that Chunji had cast. Chunji's strength could be considered as one of the best among the second-level Emperor Wu realm martial artists. He might even be able to fight against an ordinary third-level Emperor Wu realm martial artist. For this reason, he attacked like a bolt of lightning and flashed towards Duan Lingtian, like a ferocious tiger descending the mountain. It was as though he would not stop until he tore Duan Lingtian into pieces. This purple-clad young man is going to die. He can only consider himself unlucky to have encountered Chunji. In the blink of an eye, many people whispered among themselves. They felt that Duan Lingtian was going to die in Chunji's hands. After all, in their eyes, Duan Lingtian had lost to Lanbai before. Lanbai had also lost to Chunji before. At this moment, apart from those who knew about Duan Lingtian's strength, everyone was shocked. Chapter 1300. What's wrong? Qing Xian, do you think this little fellow will win? Unknowingly, Demon Emperor Man Wu arrived next to Qing Xian's Emperor Wu. He followed the latter's gaze and noticed that the latter was looking at the purple-clad young man. More than 90% of the people thought that the purple-clad young man had no chance of winning. I'm afraid you've misjudged him this time. Before Qing Xian's Emperor Wu could respond, Demon Emperor Man Wu shook his head and said, This little fella is only at level 1 Emperor Wu realm. That core disciple from the Hidden Fog Island is at level 2 Emperor Wu realm. Judging from the strength he displayed earlier, he's comparable to an ordinary Emperor Wu realm level 3. It'll be easy for him to defeat this purple-clad young man, who's only at level 1 Emperor Wu realm. Demon Emperor Man Wu said, Just watch. Qing Xian's Emperor Wu smiled faintly as he looked at the purple-clad figure in the distance. Duan Lingtian. He seemed to be very confident in him. It seems like the heavens are looking out for me. My chance is here again. A greedy gleam flashed in the depth of Emperor Wu's cold eyes. In her opinion, as long as Duan Lingtian killed Chunji, and as long as the powerhouses from the Hidden Fog Island no longer helped Duan Lingtian, it would be easy for her to kill Duan Lingtian and take the spatial ring from Duan Lingtian's hand. As for Duan Lingtian's strength, she had seen it for herself. Therefore, she was certain that Duan Lingtian had the ability to kill Chunji. I've decided. I won't kill you. However, I'll cripple your dantian and limbs. I'll let you watch your 2 fiancés enjoy my crotch. Chunji smirked and flew out. He seemed to have transformed into a bolt of lightning as he charged toward Duan Lingtian. A sword had appeared in his hand at some point in time. The sword was a quasi-royal grade spirit sword that could increase one's strength by 1-fold. With just a glance, Duan Lingtian recognized that this was another quasi-royal grade spirit sword that was refined by the reincarnation Emperor Wu. It must have been left behind by the reincarnation Emperor Wu 10,000 years ago. After all, a quasi-royal grade spirit sword would not decay or be destroyed due to the passage of time. They were passed down and passed into the hands of various powerhouses. Every time a quasi-royal grade spiritual weapon appeared, many people would fight for it. Hearing Chen Ji's vicious words, Duan Lingtian's face turned completely gloomy. Killing intent flashed in the depths of his eyes. Li Fei and Ker's expressions were also very ugly. Chen Ji's words were undoubtedly humiliating them. Brother Lingtian, you mustn't be impulsive. Just treat his words as a dog barking, and don't take them to heart. No matter what, he's the only son of the second island master of the Hidden Fog Island. If you kill him, you and your 2 sisters-in-law will be in danger. At this moment, Yang Hui's expression changed drastically. He hurriedly used voice transmission to persuade Duan Lingtian. It was not his first day knowing Duan Lingtian. However, it was his first time seeing Duan Lingtian so angry. It was as though he would not stop until he killed Chen Ji. Are you still not going to admit defeat? Not far away, where the people from Thundercloud Peak were, Zhou Yi's face turned grave as he looked at Duan Lingtian's back. Just like the others, he did not think that Duan Lingtian would be able to defeat Chen Ji. Moreover, he could tell that Chen Ji really wanted to kill Duan Lingtian. However, if Duan Lingtian died, the secret of the mysterious stone tablet in his hand would be buried underground again. That was not what he wanted to see. Right now, he only hoped that Duan Lingtian would admit defeat quickly, so that he could stay alive and solve the secret of the mysterious stone tablet. Swoosh, 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 swoosh. Chen Ji charged toward Duan Lingtian. The sword in his hand was like a swimming dragon. It transformed into sword rays that covered the sky and swept down like meteors falling from the sky. Terrifying sword howls rose and fell, causing the air everywhere he passed to be shaken and emit waves of light explosions that resounded without end. Die! Seeing Duan Lingtian was getting closer and closer, Chen Ji, whose eyes were filled with coldness, suddenly shouted. The quasi-royal great spirit sword in his hand shot out, as though it was assisted by God, as it pointed toward Duan Lingtian. At this moment, many of the onlookers could not help but gasp. Even more people looked at Duan Lingtian with a pitiful expression. In their opinion, with such a situation, even if Duan Lingtian wanted to admit defeat, it would be too late. For a moment, many people could already see the scene of Duan Lingtian falling. This little fellow is quite calm. I wonder if he's really capable. Demon Emperor Man Wu was a little surprised. He could clearly see that this purple-clad young man did not move an inch in the face of Chen Ji's overwhelming attack. Even his expression did not change at all. His eyes were as calm as ever as he stared at Chen Ji, who was charging toward him. It was as though he would not bat an eyelid even if Mount Tai collapsed in front of him. Just when Chen Ji's sword was only a foot away from Duan Lingtian, Demon Emperor Man Wu's eyes suddenly lit up. This was because he clearly saw the purple-clad young man move. His speed was even faster than Chen Ji's. He was still hiding his strength earlier. At this moment, this was the only thought left in Demon Emperor Man Wu's mind. However, although Duan Lingtian's speed was fast, it was nothing in front of Demon Emperor Man Wu, who was at the 7th level Demon Emperor stage. As he stared at Duan Lingtian seriously, Duan Lingtian's movements naturally slowed down in his eyes. Naturally, Chen Ji's movements were even slower. He could clearly see that a sword suddenly appeared in the purple-clad young man's hand out of thin air. Subsequently, a 5-colored sword ray suddenly shot out from the sword. In the next moment, the sword in his hand trembled as he swiftly swung 2 swords. The speed of the swords shocked Demon Emperor Man Wu. This speed, I'm afraid only Emperor Wu, who's at the 4th level Demon Emperor stage and above, would be able to perform this. Just as Emperor Wu was thinking about this, a shrill scream reverberated in the air. It was so sharp that it was ear-piercing. Many of the Hidden Fog Islands people who had a lower cultivation base heard it, causing horror to appear on their faces. Some of them even had their eardrums ruptured from the scream. Dazzling blood kept spurting out of their ears. When the scream reverberated in the air, the crowd regained their senses. Subsequently, everyone clearly saw that the purple-clad young man, who was originally motionless, had suddenly disappeared from his original spot and appeared even higher up in the sky. As he stood there, his purple robes fluttered in the wind, making loud noises. He looked very dashing. Soon after, they realized something else. Unlike the purple-clad young man who looked dashing, the Hidden Fog Island's core disciple Chunji, who they thought would definitely win, was now in a sorry state. At this moment, Chunji was covering his mouth with one hand and pressing his crotch with the other. At this moment, blood was spurting out from these two places. The blood splattered across the sky and formed dazzling red roses. At this moment, many people felt chills running down their spines. At this moment, they finally realized why Chunji was screaming in such a shrill voice. It turned out that his mouth and crotch were mangled. It was a mess of flesh and blood. Judging from Chunji's slurred voice when he opened his mouth and spurted out blood, and the injuries on his crotch, it was obvious that these two places were completely crippled. While Chunji was screaming in pain, his eyes were bloodshot as he glared at Duan Lingtian. It was as though he saw Duan Lingtian as an enemy who had killed his father and taken his wife. For someone like him who was unhappy without women, it was difficult for him to accept this fact. He had been turned into a eunuch by his opponent's sword. Moreover, he was a mute eunuch. He was filled with hatred. However, although he was filled with hatred, there was nothing he could do to his opponent. "You're dead. You're dead. My father won't let you go. My father won't let you go." Chunji kept threatening Duan Lingtian through voice transmission as he glared at him. At this moment, the group of people who were watching finally regained their senses. As expected, there was an uproar in the crowd. Chunji is no match for him. It seems like he was hiding his strength earlier. Oh my god. Could it be that he deliberately hid his strength just for this moment? If that's the case, did he lose to Thundercloud Peak's Lanbai on purpose? Isn't it obvious enough? Lanbai can't even win against Chunji. How could she win against someone who's obviously stronger than Chunji? He's really ruthless. Not only did he cripple Chunji's mouth, but he also crippled his manhood. I can understand why he crippled Chunji's manhood. However, why did he cripple Chunji's mouth? The surrounding crowd discussed animatedly. Many of them were filled with doubts as they wondered why Duan Lingtian would cripple Chunji's mouth. He's actually so strong. On Thundercloud Peak's side, Lanbai's expression changed drastically as she broke out in cold sweat. She knew very well in her heart, if the purple-clad young man did not lose to her on purpose, she would most likely be dead. If the purple-clad young man was willing, he could have killed her in just one move. However, why did he lose to me on purpose? Could it be that he wanted to hide his strength from Chunji? The doubts in Lanbai's heart grew. This reason did not seem to make any sense. Chunji did not know how strong she was in the beginning. Therefore, even if Duan Lingtian defeated her at that time, Chunji would not be afraid. However, while Lanbai couldn't figure it out, Zhou could. This Duan Lingtian must have lost to Lanbai on purpose to bait me. He wants to kill me. Zhou Yi's face was gloomy. He could guess the reason why Duan Lingtian lost to Lanbai on purpose. Naturally, Zhou Yi did not know Duan Lingtian already knew the Devil Seal tablet was in his hands. He only thought Duan Lingtian wanted to take revenge. Fortunately, he encountered Chunji first. Otherwise, if he encountered me first, I'd definitely be dead. Zhou Yi did not doubt this at all. At this moment, Zhou Yi felt a lingering fear in his heart. At the same time, he looked at Chunji whose mouth and manhood were crippled. If that's the case, I should thank Chunji instead. I'm dead? Your father won't let me go? When Duan Lingtian heard Chunji's threat, he smiled brilliantly. Chapter 1301. What are you trying to do? Chunji's mouth was mangled, and he could not speak. However, this did not mean that he could not use his voice transmission. When he sent a voice transmission to Duan Lingtian, his face was filled with fear. Where was the arrogance from before? Duan Lingtian did not speak. He used his actions to answer Chen Ji's question. Whoosh! 4 swords flew out at the same time. They were so fast that most people could only hear the sound of the swords whistling through the air. Only a few people could hear the complete sound of the swords whistling through the air. Poof! 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 Blood splattered all over Chen Ji's body. Hideous bloody holes appeared on both his arms and legs at the same time. This scene sent chills down everyone's spine. Chen Ji, on the other hand, let out a series of blood-curdling screams. However, because his mouth was mangled, his screams were extremely strange. One could tell from his trembling body and hideous expression that he was in great pain. It was a heart-wrenching pain. Although he hated Duan Lingtian, he did not glare at Duan Lingtian like before. He only had one thought left in his mind. I don't want to die. I admit defeat. I admit defeat. I admit defeat. Chen Ji endured the inhumane pain as he looked at Duan Lingtian and hurriedly sent a voice transmission to him. However, Duan Lingtian seemed as if he did not hear it. He raised the sword in his hand unhurriedly, and his eyes flickered with an icy cold light that did not contain any emotion. Why isn't Chen Ji admitting defeat? Many of the onlookers were stunned. The situation was so clear, yet Chen Ji still refused to admit defeat. Was he looking for death? That's not right. Chen Ji's mouth has been mangled. It's difficult for him to admit defeat now. That's right. Even if he sends a voice transmission to Duan Lingtian to admit defeat, Duan Lingtian can still continue to kill him. He can just say that he did not hear it. Soon, many people realized what was going on. No wonder he wanted to rip Chen Ji's mouth apart. He was afraid that Chen Ji would admit defeat. If he wanted to kill Chen Ji, he would have done so a long time ago. Now, it's obvious that he wants to slowly torture Chen Ji before killing him. He twisted Chen Ji's mouth because he was worried that Chen Ji would admit defeat. Many people had guessed this. Thinking of this, many people only felt a chill rise from the soles of their feet, straight to their heads. When they looked at Duan Lingtian again, their faces and eyes were full of fear. The whispers of the crowd fell into Chen Ji's ears, causing him to come back to his senses. At that moment, Chen Ji turned his head to look at the third island master of the hidden fog island with much difficulty. While enduring the inhumane pain, he said through voice transmission, "Third island master, save me. Save me. I admit defeat. I admit defeat." Chen Ji continuously sent voice transmissions, and his tone was filled with anxiety. Whoosh! Just as Chen Ji was pleading for help from the third island master, a sword ray pierced through the sky and sliced him into 2. The whole process was clean and tidy. At that moment, the sky above the vast and boundless sea was dead silent. Although there were many people, it was as calm as the sea. Splash! Splash! When the 2 halves of Chen Ji's body fell to the ground, the sound of 2 bodies falling into the water finally woke the crowd up. Before that, Duan Lingtian did not forget to collect the spoils of war. He put away the spatial ring and quasi-royal grade spirit sword in Chen Ji's hands one by one without leaving anything behind. As the only son of the second island master of the hidden fog island, Chen Ji must have many good things in his hands. The third island master looked deeply at Duan Lingtian. Although he did not plan to pay attention to Chen Ji's voice transmission, the speed at which he killed Chen Ji was faster than the speed at which he reacted. Even if he wanted to save Chen Ji, it was already too late, let alone the fact that he did not plan to save Chen Ji. How dare you kill the only son of the second island master? The third island master sized up Duan Lingtian. His heart was filled with shock and joy at the same time. This was because he had wanted Chen Ji to die since a long time ago. However, due to the promise he made to the first island master, he could not touch Chen Ji. Now that there was someone who could do it for him, it was only natural that he was happy. The young man standing nearby, the third island master's grandson, had a bright smile on his face. In the end, he laughed a little crazily. Chen Ji is dead, Chen Ji is dead. Chen Ji is finally dead. Kair, did you see that? After killing Chen Ji, Duan Lingtian was considered to have entered the top 10. Third island master. The Hidden Fog Martial Competition's rule that allows killing is set by the Hidden Fog Island. I know Chen Ji. is the only son of the second island master of the Hidden Fog Island. You won't seek revenge from me because of his death, right? Duan Lingtian looked at the third island master of the Hidden Fog Island from afar, and asked when he returned to Ling Xian Peak, and the rest. Of course not. The third island master shook his head. The Hidden Fog martial competition is a matter of life and death. Even if my grandson and my direct disciple died in the Hidden Fog martial competition, I won't seek revenge from the person who killed them. That's good. Duan Lingtian nodded nonchalantly. Whoosh. At the same time, an uproar broke out among the crowd. I can't believe he killed Qinji. Although he killed Qinji in the Hidden Fog martial competition, and has a valid reason, even if the second island master of the Hidden Fog Island doesn't kill him openly, he'll definitely kill him secretly to avenge his only son. This Duan Lingtian is crazy. Apart from shock, the gazes that fell on Duan Lingtian were filled with pity. In their opinion, Duan Lingtian had the audacity to kill the only son of the second island master of the Hidden Fog Island. He was digging his own grave. It was impossible for him to survive. However, was Duan Lingtian really crazy? Naturally, he was not crazy. There are so many people here. Even if the second island master of the Hidden Fog Island finds out about this, he won't be able to kill me. I'll bring Kerr and Little Fei away from here after I obtain the 10 Saint Stones. As long as I'm far away from the Hidden Fog Island, why would I be afraid of the second island master of the Hidden Fog Island? Duan Lingtian had made up his mind. He was not a reckless person. Since he chose to kill Qinji, he had a plan to deal with everything. Of course, this was only his current plan. He really killed Qinji. This means that the powerhouse from the Hidden Fog Island won't help him anymore. After the Hidden Fog martial competition ends, I'll follow him and kill him. Chilling Emperor Wu's eyes gleamed coldly. And the two little bitches next to him. I'll kill them as well. Could this brat be a demon emperor? This doesn't seem like something the cowardly human Emperor Wu would do. Demon Emperor Man Wu guessed in shock. The Shifter Emperor was formed from the cultivation of a shifter. A demon, on the other hand, was a demon beast. Compared to humans, demon beasts were more hot-tempered. Even if they possessed intelligence that was not inferior to humans, they were not as docile as humans. That was why Demon Emperor Man Wu guessed so. He's Emperor Wu. At this moment, Qingxian Emperor Wu, who was next to him, spoke calmly. He's a human. Demon Emperor Man Wu was shocked. He's not just a human. He's an extremely talented human. Qingxian Emperor Wu said. Qingxian, you know him? Demon Emperor Man Wu was stunned. Qingxian Emperor Wu only smiled, and did not answer Demon Emperor Man Wu. Damn it! How did this Duan Lingtian become so strong? Zhou Yi's expression was extremely ugly. With his strength, it's impossible for me to suppress him and force him to tell me the secret of the mysterious stone tablet. If it's something else, I can ask Laming Emperor Wu to help me. However, this is related to the mysterious stone tablet. I can't ask Laming Emperor Wu to help me. Zhou Yi knew very well. Once Martial Emperor Lei Ming found out about the profundity of the mysterious stone tablet in his hand, he would definitely take it for himself. That was not something he wanted to see. If that's the case, I can only give up. Zhou Yi made up his mind with difficulty. The choice he was facing now was like a beggar who had not eaten for a few days, and suddenly saw a delicious roast chicken. Just as he was about to eat the roast chicken, someone told him that there was poison in the roast chicken. If he ate it, he would die from the poison. At this time, he could only choose to give up. Brother Lingtian, you're too impulsive. Yang Hui smiled bitterly. I won't allow anyone to profane my woman. Duan Lingtian's eyes flashed as he said nonchalantly. His tone was firm. Kerr and Li Fei stood next to Duan Lingtian. When they heard Duan Lingtian's words, their eyes were filled with tenderness. They leaned on Duan Lingtian's sides and held Duan Lingtian's arms. They were willing to live and die with their man. The Hidden Fog martial competition will continue. At this moment, the third island master of the Hidden Fog Island announced the continuation of the Hidden Fog martial competition. Perhaps he was affected by the bloody scene earlier. In the following battles, the participants did not seem to hold back anymore. They attacked with all their might, and all of them were killing moves. Soon, a few of Emperor Wu's powerhouses died. Innate ability. Suddenly, an exclamation came and woke up Duan Lingtian, who seemed to be resting with his eyes closed. Duan Lingtian opened his eyes, and with a single glance, he noticed that a black lotus had shot out from between the black-clothed young man's brows and flashed towards his opponent. The black lotus shot through the air and spun continuously as it shot out. Faced with the menacing black lotus, the black-clad young man's opponent, a blue-clad middle-aged man, hurriedly activated his energy to block it. However, the defensive barrier formed by his energy could not stop the black lotus at all. The black lotus passed through the defensive barrier without any resistance. The defensive barrier was still in place, but the black lotus had already entered the blue-clad middle-aged man's body. Although it did not leave any wounds on his body, it still made his body tremble. In the next moment, he fell silently with his eyes wide open. It's a soul attack innate ability. Duan Lingtian was shocked. The black lotus was the black-clad young man's innate ability. It was activated by his spiritual energy, and was a spiritual energy attack. In other words, it was a soul attack. Unless an ordinary Emperor Wu's powerhouse specialized in soul attacks, it would be difficult for them to deal with an opponent who was also an Emperor Wu's powerhouse with soul attacks. However, it was different for those who possessed soul attack innate ability. Chapter 1302. The innate divine ability that attacked the soul was powerful and strange. Once it was cast, it would kill anyone who did not have a higher cultivation base and spiritual energy than him. Most importantly, the origin energy and profundity could not block the soul attack, because they were two different types of energy. The soul attack was more illusory. The origin energy and profundity, on the other hand, were real energy. They were both Emperor Wu Realm Level 2 martial artists, and they were evenly matched in the beginning. However, when the black-clad young man cast his innate divine ability, he killed his opponent in just a blink of an eye. What a terrifying innate divine ability! That's the innate divine ability that attacks the soul. It's impossible to defend against it. Unless one's spiritual energy is higher than his, it's impossible to escape death if one encounters him. Even if one's spiritual energy is higher than his, as long as it's not too much higher, he can still use his innate divine ability to heavily injure his opponent's soul. He can then defeat his opponent when his opponent is in a daze. The spectators reacted and discussed among themselves. They looked at the black-clad young man with fear in their eyes. It was exactly as they had said. Later on, when the black-clad young man entered the top 10 of the Hidden Fog martial competition, he encountered a Level 3 Emperor Wu Realm Level 3 martial artist. Although his innate divine ability did not kill his opponent, it affected his opponent. When his opponent was affected, the black-clad young man made his move and heavily injured his opponent before defeating him. As expected of a variant, Duan Lingtian exclaimed, "I wonder where Qing Xian Emperor Wu got this disciple from. Since the Hidden Fog martial competition started, there have been 3 variants. However, their innate divine abilities are far from his." Yang Hui could not help but sigh. Zhou Yi. Soon after, Duan Lingtian saw Zhou Yi enter the ring. However, Zhou Yi's opponent was a Level 2 Emperor Wu Realm Level 2 martial artist. His opponent defeated him easily. "Zhou Yi, why didn't you use your quasi-royal grade spirit weapon?" After Zhou Yi lost the qualification to enter the top 10, he returned to Emperor Wu's side. This caused Emperor Wu to be displeased. In his opinion, Zhou Yi did not use his quasi-royal grade spirit weapon, because he did not use his full strength. "Master, even if I use a quasi-royal grade spirit weapon, I'm still no match for him," Zhou Yi said with a bitter smile. Of course, he was just looking for an excuse. The reason he did not use the stone tablet in his hand, that was comparable to a quasi-royal grade spirit weapon, was because he was worried he would expose it to Duan Lingtian. He did not want to be targeted by Duan Lingtian. At the very least, he did not want to let Duan Lingtian know that the stone tablet was in his possession before he knew the secret behind it. Not to mention that Duan Lingtian was stronger than him. It would be easy for him to snatch the stone tablet from him. Even if he had the protection of Emperor Wu, Once the other party became enraged and told the Emperor Wu about the secret of the steel, as well as the fact that he possessed the steel in his hands would definitely be taken away by the Emperor Wu. That was not what he wanted to see. He did not want the steel that he had painstakingly obtained to be taken away by the Thunder Emperor Wu. Only he knew how great of a price he had paid for that steel. As time went by, the top 10 people in the Hidden Fog martial competition, including Duan Lingtian, were determined. As Yang Hui's first direct disciple, Zhou Di did not make it to the top 10 from Lingxian Peak. He had no fate with the Saint Stone. Although Lingxian Emperor Wu was a little disappointed, he did not blame Zhou Di. This was because many of the people who participated in the Hidden Fog martial competition today had entered the Emperor Wu stage. Therefore, Duan Lingtian was the only one from Lingxian Peak who made it to the top 10. Among the people from Qiuli Mountain, Emperor Wu's disciples under Emperor Wu, only one of them made it to the top 10. It was Dong Hu. Su Rong was the only one from Yuhan Valley who made it to the top 10. Lan Bai was the only one from Thundercloud Peak who made it to the top 10. There were a total of 2 people under Qing Xian Emperor Wu's command, including the black-clad young man who knew the innate ability of soul attack, who made it to the top 10. On Cloud Continent, there were a total of 6 human martial artists who made it to the top 10 of the Hidden Fog martial competition. Of course, there was another human martial artist who made it to the top 10. She was the direct disciple of the third island master of Hidden Fog Island. She was the pale-faced young woman who had a bloody attack. The remaining 3 spots were occupied by 1 Demon Emperor powerhouse from Hidden Fog Island and 2 Demon Emperor powerhouses from Cloud Continent. One of the 2 Demon Emperor powerhouses from Cloud Continent was the direct disciple of Demon Emperor Man Wu. Everyone, the Hidden Fog martial competition is coming to an end. The third round of the martial competition, which is also the last round, will determine the ranking of the top 10. As the third island master of Hidden Fog Island spoke at a moderate pace, the atmosphere in the surroundings was ignited. Many people widened their eyes as they looked forward to the start of the third round of the martial competition. There would be a brutal elimination battle in the third round of the martial competition. Soon after, those who made it to the top 10 of the Hidden Fog martial competition each obtained 9 special tokens from the third island master of Hidden Fog Island. The rules of the last round of the martial competition were simple. Any one of them could issue a challenge to the other 9. Once they defeated their opponent, they would be able to obtain a token from their opponent, and so on and so forth. Only by defeating 9 people and obtaining 9 tokens would one be able to obtain the first place in the Hidden Fog martial competition. Apart from that, the other 8 people who have just fought can't challenge them in the next round. These are the rules of the third round of the martial competition. The third island master of Hidden Fog Island continued. There's one more thing that I forgot to tell all of you. Nobody is allowed to kill each other in the third round of the martial competition. With your abilities, it shouldn't be difficult for you to do that. If you kill someone, not only will you lose the right to continue participating in the Hidden Fog martial competition, but your cultivation base will also be crippled. I hope all of you won't make a mistake. When the third island master of Hidden Fog Island reached the end of his sentence, there was a hint of threat in his tone. Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, the third round of the Hidden Fog martial competition, which was also the last round of the martial competition, officially began. The 10 people, including Duan Lingtian, stood in different places with cold gazes. For a long time, nobody made the first move. Gradually, many of the onlookers became impatient. Why isn't it starting yet? Aren't we allowed to rest for the next round after a battle? Why are all of you so inactive? Quick! If this continues, the sky will turn dark soon. More and more people urged Duan Lingtian and the other 9 people to make the first move. Although Duan Lingtian heard the urging, he did not care about it at all. It was as though he had turned a deaf ear to them. However, there were still people who could not take it anymore and made the first move. Whoosh! In the blink of an eye, a burly figure flew out and made the first move. It was Dong Hu, the direct disciple of the master of Qiuli Mountain, Emperor Wu. He had fought with Duan Lingtian before, and was defeated by Duan Lingtian. Therefore, he did not even look at Duan Lingtian after he made the first move. In the end, he fixed his gaze on Su Rong, the direct disciple of Emperor Wu in Yuhan Valley. She was also the only direct disciple in Yuhan Valley who had entered Emperor Wu's level. As the only one among the 10 who had advanced to the first stage of Emperor Wu's level, Dong Hu's strength was proven. This Su Rong, her cultivation of Han Bing's divine sword technique is not bad. Dong Hu won't last more than 30 breaths if he goes up against her. Duan Lingtian had seen Su Rong's attack earlier. Naturally, he could tell the depth of her strength. As for Dong Hu, he had fought with him before and knew his strength better than anyone else. As someone who had merged with the memories of Emperor Wu from reincarnation, Duan Lingtian's judgment was far better than an ordinary person's. It was just as he had expected. After Su Rong and Dong Hu fought for more than 20 breaths, Su Rong defeated Dong Hu and obtained one of Dong Hu's tokens. She became the first person to possess 10 tokens at the same time. As for Dong Hu, who had lost 1 token and only had 8 tokens left, he had a bitter expression on his face. Based on the current situation, I might be at the bottom this time. Dong Hu smiled bitterly to himself. Although he felt helpless, he knew that he had to accept the fact. After Su Rong defeated Dong Hu, the second battle continued. As Dong Hu was the first to issue a challenge, the second person went up very quickly. It was one of the 2 people under Qing Xian Emperor Wu who had entered the top 10. It was the young man in black who knew how to attack the soul. After the young man in black left the arena, the first person he chose was Lan Bai from Thundercloud Peak. Lan Bai did not look too good after being chosen by him. This was because she had no chance of winning against him. Fortunately, killing was prohibited in the 3rd round of the Hidden Fog martial competition. Otherwise, she would not have the guts to fight with the young man in black. This was because all of the young man's opponents had died before this. Those who were weaker were killed by his origin energy and profundity. Those who were stronger were killed by his soul attack innate ability. Lan Bai had just left the arena. Before she could make a move, she was affected by the young man in black's innate ability. She was stunned for a moment before she was sent flying by the young man in black. She was severely injured. The young man in black had obtained one of Lan Bai's tokens. The Hidden Fog martial competition continued. The next person to enter the arena was the direct disciple of the 3rd island master of Hidden Fog Island. She was the young lady who had been ruthless and bloody since the beginning. Before this, none of her opponents survived as well. However, killing was prohibited in this round of the martial competition. Unless she wanted her cultivation base to be destroyed, she would not kill anymore. Duan Lingtian raised his eyebrows. He noticed that the young lady's gaze was on him. She wants to challenge me first. Duan Lingtian immediately became alert. However, the young lady's gaze quickly shifted to the other direct disciple of Qing Xian's Emperor Wu. She locked her gaze on him and wanted to challenge him. Although they were both at Emperor Wu Realm Level 3, the battle between the 2 revealed who was stronger very quickly. Chapter 1303. The last round of the Hidden Fog martial arts competition was getting more and more intense. After a while, someone took the initiative to challenge Duan Lingtian. Among the 10 people in the top 10, there were 3 people who were feared the most. They were the young man in black under Qing Xian Emperor Wu, the direct disciple of the 3rd island master of the Hidden Fog Island, and Duan Lingtian. Therefore, very few people took the initiative to challenge them. However, the young man in black and the direct disciple of the 3rd island master of the Hidden Fog Island, the young lady, took the initiative to choose their opponents many times. They fought more frequently than Duan Lingtian. Because of this, Duan Lingtian did not participate in the first round. However, in the end, there were still people who chose him. Dong Hu. Currently, he had lost to 6 people. The remaining 3 people, including Duan Lingtian, were the 3 people who were feared the most. Although the young man in black under Qing Xian Emperor Wu's command had a weaker cultivation base, his innate gift of soul attack was extremely mysterious. He could often catch people off guard. the direct disciple of the third island master of the hidden fog island. The young lady attacked cleanly. Her strength was comparable to an ordinary level 4 Emperor Wu. Until now, both of them had not lost a single battle. As for Duan Lingtian, he had not taken the initiative to participate in the battle even once. Nobody had challenged him, so naturally, he had not lost a single battle. Dong Hu's challenge was the first time someone had challenged him. This Dong Hu is really bold. That's right. He even dares to challenge Duan Lingtian from Lingxian Peak. He's really looking for death. The scene of Duan Lingtian killing Chen Ji was still vivid in their minds. Therefore, more people thought that Dong Hu was looking for death by challenging Duan Lingtian. Perhaps Duan Lingtian would not kill him due to the rules of the last round. However, he would definitely not end well. However, after Dong Hu challenged Duan Lingtian, before Duan Lingtian could make a move, what happened next was out of everyone's expectations. I admit defeat. A moment ago, Dong Hu had challenged Duan Lingtian, but before the Duan Lingtian could leave the arena, he had admitted defeat. This was the first time something like this had happened in the last round of the Hidden Fog Martial competition. The challenger admitted defeat in a clean manner. Immediately, some people secretly scolded Dong Hu for being a coward, while others secretly praised Dong Hu for being sensible. In any case, the Duan Lingtian had won a match and obtained a token. The number of tokens in his hand had increased from 9 to 10. At the same time, among the remaining 8 people, there were a few who could only challenge Duan Lingtian. Like Dong Hu, they had no choice. The second person to challenge Duan Lingtian was the female disciple of Thundercloud Peak, Lan Bai. Lan Bai, whose cultivation base was at the second level of Emperor Wu realm, had fought with the Duan Lingtian before, but because the Duan Lingtian intentionally went easy on her, she obtained the final victory. I hope you'll give it your all in this battle. Lan Bai stared at the Duan Lingtian and said in a deep voice. The fact that the Duan Lingtian had easily killed the opponent who had defeated her and purposely lost to her had attracted a lot of gossip that enraged her. Although she knew she was no match for the Duan Lingtian, she still hoped to be defeated fair and square. She had her dignity. Give it my all. The Duan Lingtian raised his brows and looked deeply at Lan Bai. When he saw the seriousness in the girl's eyes, he nodded. I will. The Duan Lingtian had given Lan Bai enough respect in this battle. He did not use any spirit weapon and attacked with his full strength. Before Lan Bai could react, she was sent flying by the Duan Lingtian. She was severely injured and defeated. It was clean and neat. Apart from the third island master of the Hidden Fog Island and the group of elders who came to watch the show, only the group of Emperor Wu powerhouses and Demon Emperor powerhouses from the Cloud Continent could see Duan Lingtian's movements clearly. This little fellow, he was still holding back when he fought with Qinji earlier? Demon Emperor Man Wu was shocked. Compared to the shock on Demon Emperor Man Wu's face, Qingxian Emperor Wu was much calmer. He watched calmly from the beginning until the end. Thank you. Although Lan Bai was severely injured and defeated by the Duan Lingtian, she did not resent the Duan Lingtian at all. After thanking him, she retreated. How? How did this Duan Lingtian become so powerful? Zhou Yi's expression was grave. As a Thundercloud Peak disciple, he knew Lan Bai's strength very well. However, someone as powerful as Lan Bai was not a match for the Duan Lingtian. For a moment, Zhou Yi felt a chill run up from the bottom of his feet to his head. At this moment, he felt even more fortunate that he did not fight with the Duan Lingtian before Chenji fought with the Duan Lingtian. Otherwise, he would definitely die. Brother Lingtian's strength. Yang Hui was shocked. Although he knew that Duan Lingtian was powerful, he thought that Duan Lingtian had used all his strength when he fought with Chenji. He did not expect Duan Lingtian to still be holding back. Brother Lingtian's current strength. I'm afraid he's not weaker than me. Yang Hui's heart trembled as this thought appeared in his mind. Once this thought appeared, it was difficult to suppress. How long has it been? Brother Lingtian has already grown to such a level. Yang Hui's heart was filled with shock. Apart from Ke and Li Fei, the Emperor Wu of Yuhan was not surprised by Duan Lingtian's strength. With his strength, Only the variant under the Qing Xian Emperor Wu, and the direct disciple of the third island master of Hidden Fog Island can threaten him. Yesterday, the Emperor Wu of Yuhan had fought with Duan Lingtian. Therefore, she had a certain understanding of Duan Lingtian's strength. Of course, if she knew that the person who broke her heaven and earth wipeout was not the red-robed old man, but Duan Lingtian, she would not think that way. After defeating Lan Bai, Duan Lingtian returned to the two little girls' side. Suddenly, he seemed to have thought of something inside. During the battle with Lan Bai's valiant figure reminded him of Feng Tianwu. Wasn't Tianwu taken away by the first revered elder of Hidden Fog Island? Logically speaking, she should be here since the Hidden Fog Island is hosting such a lively event. However, from the beginning until the end, Duan Lingtian did not see any trace of Feng Tianwu. Brother Yang, do you know the first revered elder of Hidden Fog Island? Duan Lingtian asked as he looked at Yang Hui. Of course I do. Yang Hui nodded. The first revered elder of Hidden Fog Island used to be a famous Emperor Wu powerhouse on our cloud continent. His title was Crimson Flame, and people called him Crimson Flame Emperor Wu. He was considered a powerhouse of the older generation. When he was famous in the inner land of Cloud Continent, I had just broken through to the martial monarch stage. Why are you suddenly asking about him? Yang Hui asked curiously. Have you seen him before? Duan Lingtian asked again. I've seen him once. Yang Hui nodded. Is he among the group of Hidden Fog Island's elders who are watching? Duan Lingtian's eyes lit up as he asked in anticipation. Although he did not know what Duan Lingtian wanted to do, Yang Hui still looked at the group of Hidden Fog Island's elders, who were standing in the distance, and glanced at them one by one. He's not. In the end, Yang Hui shook his head. Duan Lingtian was instantly disappointed. It seems like Tian Wu really didn't come. Perhaps she's in closed-door cultivation now. Duan Lingtian guessed. The last round of the Hidden Fog martial competition was still ongoing. Since the others had no choice, they could only challenge Duan Lingtian one after another. Duan Lingtian did not reject any of them, and defeated them one by one. In just a blink of an eye, Duan Lingtian obtained another 5 tokens. Including the tokens that Dong Hu from Chioli Mountain and Lan Bai from Thundercloud Peak contributed, he had obtained a total of 7 tokens. As long as he obtained 2 more tokens, he would be ranked first in the Hidden Fog martial competition today. At the same time, the black-clad young man under Qing Xian Emperor Wu, and the direct disciple of the third island master of the Hidden Fog Island, had obtained 7 tokens each. In the last round of the martial competition, any 2 people could only fight 1 round each. Therefore, obtaining 7 tokens meant that the 3 of them had defeated 7 people each. The top 3 of the Hidden Fog martial competition today are out. Many people had anticipation on their faces, as they looked forward to the start of the battle for the top 3. As for the ranking from 4th to 10th, it was out now. After the Hidden Fog martial competition ended, they would hand in their tokens, and the ranking would be announced. The group of people who were watching formed a circle in the air. In the middle of the void, there were 3 people standing in a triangular formation. The 3 of them stood there calmly, as though they would not be affected even if Mount Tai collapsed in front of them. The air was filled with the smell of gunpowder. Finally, the direct disciple of the third island master of the Hidden Fog Island, the ruthless young lady, took a step forward. Her eyes immediately locked onto Duan Lingtian. She's going to challenge Duan Lingtian? Immediately, many people's hearts moved as they guessed. Duan Lingtian was the only one who did not think the young lady would take the initiative to challenge him. This was because he did not see any battle intent in the young lady's eyes when she looked at him. I'm grateful that you've avenged my junior sister. Although I won't go easy on you, I won't challenge you for the time being. Get ready. I'll fight you after I defeat him. A gloomy voice transmission sounded out by Duan Lingtian's ears, and the voice was strange and sufficient to cause one's hair to stand on end. However, Duan Lingtian did not show any change in his expression as he nodded at the young lady. Naturally, it was only on the surface that he did not show any change. His heart was filled with shock. Now, He finally understood why the third island master of the Hidden Fog Island was not angry when he witnessed Qinji being killed by him. Instead, he was calm. It turned out that Qinji had harmed his female disciple before. Recalling Qinji's reputation on the Hidden Fog Island, it was easy for him to guess what Qinji had done. If that's the case, I've indeed avenged him, Duan Lingtian thought to himself. East Island of the Hidden Fog Island. I want to see the second island master. An anxious voice came from the sky and broke the silence in the valley. The second island master is in closed-door cultivation. You can tell me if there's anything. An old voice resonated. An old man appeared and stopped the middle-aged man, who was falling from the sky with an anxious expression on his face. The middle-aged man had a token with the word core carved on it hanging on his waist. Chapter 1304. Lung Yun. On the calm surface of the sea, a young woman with a cold expression stared at the young man opposite her as she spoke slowly. She was introducing herself. The fact that she was introducing herself was enough to show that the opponent in front of her had gained her approval. So her name is Lung Yun. At once, many people from Cloud Continent came to a realization. Lung Yun was the direct disciple of the third island master of the Hidden Fog Island. She was once in the top 3 of the Hidden Fog martial competition. Anyone whose age could be measured by the age-measuring pearl was eligible to participate in the Hidden Fog martial competition. The age-measuring pearl could measure the age of a person below the age of 70. As everyone knew, once a human martial artist cultivated to the martial monarch stage, he would be able to retain his youth forever. Therefore, it was not reliable to judge one's age based on appearance alone. As for demon beasts, there was no doubt that it was even more exaggerated. Once a demon beast broke through to the void transformation stage, it was considered as transforming into a demon. It could transform into a human or a human of any age. It could even transform into a 3-year-old child. Wang Yu, the young man, the most powerful person under Qing Xian's Emperor Wu, introduced himself in response to Lung Yun. As soon as Wang Yu's words left his mouth, Lung Yun had already made her move. Under Duan Lingtian's watchful eyes, Lung Yun made the first move. Not only did she unleash all of her energy, but a quasi-royal grade spirit claw also appeared and gripped her hand tightly. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Duan Lingtian could only hear the ear-piercing sound of sharp weapons tearing through the air wherever Lung Yun passed by. The sharp claws on her hand shot out beams of light and transformed into claw shadows that filled the sky. In just a blink of an eye, Lung Yun arrived in front of Wang Yu. The sharp claws on her hand slashed down menacingly, as though they were tearing the sky apart. As someone who was at the 3rd level of Emperor Wu stage, Lung Yun's ability was much stronger than Wang Yu. Wang Yu was only at the 2nd level of Emperor Wu stage. If it was not for the fact that he was a variant and possessed innate divine ability, it was impossible for him to enter the top 3 of the Hidden Fog martial competition. Facing Lung Yun, who was stronger than him and came with a menacing aura, Wang Yu was abnormally calm. When Lung Yun moved and shot towards him like a sharp arrow, he still stood where he was without any intention of dodging. However, his eyes suddenly narrowed. Innate divine power. The moment Lung Yun got close to him, he used his spiritual power to activate his innate ability. The demonic Black Lotus reappeared and faced the menacing Lung Yun head-on. When Lung Yun arrived in front of Wang Yu, the Black Lotus was also very close to her. Lung Yun's pupils suddenly shrank. Now, she was confident that she could severely injure Wang Yu the moment the Black Lotus entered her body. However, because she couldn't kill anyone, she didn't have the confidence to make Wang Yu lose the ability to attack her after severely injuring Wang Yu. So she chose to avoid it. She's going to lose. Duan Lingtian shook his head. He had seen Lung Yun's situation clearly. If her attack landed, it would not be difficult for her to severely injure Wang Yu. She might even cause Wang Yu to lose the ability to continue fighting. However, she had chosen to avoid it because she was afraid of Wang Yu's innate ability. You can't just dodge an innate ability as you wish. Duan Lingtian knew this very well. This was because in the 2 reincarnations of the Reincarnation Emperor Wu, He had encountered more than one variant, who possessed innate abilities that could attack the soul. Therefore, he knew how terrifying this innate ability was. It was just as Duan Lingtian had expected. Leng Yin gave up on attacking Wang Yu. She wanted to avoid it, but she soon regretted it. She discovered that the Black Lotus was not only moving faster and faster, but it was also sticking to her like gangrene. No matter where she dodged, it would follow her closely. Skyripping Mystic Yin Claw. Soon, Leng Yin also realized that if this continued, she would be the one at a disadvantage. Therefore, she tried to salvage the situation and attacked Wang Yu again. Sharp claws tore through the air, and claw shadows filled the sky. Unfortunately, this time, Wang Yu had already dodged, causing her to miss her target. At this time, the Black Lotus's speed had caught up with Leng Yin's speed. Not only that, but its speed was also increasing. This was the mystery of an innate ability. Once it was used, its speed was not on the same level as the user's own speed. Unless one's strength was much stronger than the variant, it was almost impossible to avoid the innate ability. Duan Lingtian knew this from the memories of the reincarnation Emperor Wu. It was because of this that he thought Leng Yin would lose. Because of a wrong choice, Leng Yin lost in the end. She was completely defeated. After the Black Lotus increased its speed several times, it finally caught up with her and merged into her body, causing her to be in a daze. Just when she was in a daze, Wang Yu made his move in time and defeated her. Wang Yu won. So this is the power of the soul attack innate ability. What a terrifying innate ability. It's not on the same level as the other variants assist type innate abilities. Of course, today, among the variants who know innate ability, Wang Yu is the only one who entered the top 3. After Wang Yu defeated Leng Yin, many people discussed how terrifying Wang Yu's innate ability was. Master, I'm sorry to disappoint you. Leng Yin returned to the third island master of the hidden fog island and lowered her head guiltily. It's my fault for not warning you. However, you've learned from your mistakes. I hope you'll remember today's lesson. The soul attack innate ability isn't something you can dodge just because you want to, the third island master said. He did not blame Leng Yin at all. At the same time, the third island master said loudly, rest for 15 minutes. After 15 minutes, the last round of the martial arts competition will continue. Brother Lingtian, are you confident? Even if I were to fight that Wang Yu, I wouldn't dare to say that I'd be able to defeat him. Yang Hui asked Duan Lingtian. When he reached the end of his sentence, his face was filled with dread. Duan Lingtian smiled. Won't you find out when you continue watching? Wang Yu, this Duan Lingtian isn't simple. If you fight him like how you fought Leng Yin, you'll definitely lose. Wang Yu, who was resting by the side, heard a clear voice transmission by his ears. He could tell that it was the voice of his master, Qing Xian Emperor Wu. Master, I understand. Wang Yu hurriedly replied. When he looked at Duan Lingtian again, he muttered, You'd better not lose to Leng Yin. Otherwise, I'll be disappointed. A quarter of an hour passed very quickly. This time, the one who took the initiative to enter the arena was still Leng Yin. After the previous rest, Leng Yin's injuries had completely recovered. Now Leng Yin could only choose Duan Lingtian as her opponent. Facing Duan Lingtian, who flew out and stood opposite her, Leng Yin slowly opened her mouth. Leng Yin. Duan Lingtian. Duan Lingtian replied in a timely manner. Duan Lingtian, I won't show mercy to you just because you've avenged my junior sister. Leng Yin said through voice transmission. As you wish. Duan Lingtian had a smile on his face as he replied indifferently. His indifference infuriated Leng Yin, causing her eyes to be filled with rage. Subsequently, without any hesitation, she executed her movement technique and charged towards Duan Lingtian. The quasi-royal grade sharp claw in her hand tore through the air as she executed the sky-ripping dark Yin claw once again. The sky-ripping dark Yin claw was a heaven-rank high-grade offensive martial skill, and Leng Yin had already cultivated it to perfection. It was precisely because of this that she could forcefully pull out a person's heart from his chest with her bare hands. Now that she was using the quasi-royal grade sharp claw, the might of the sky-ripping dark Yin claw had increased to a whole new level. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. When Leng Yun charged towards Duan Lingtian, it was as though a huge goshawk was descending. Accompanying it were claw shadows that filled the sky, as though she wanted to tear Duan Lingtian apart. The sharp claw tore through the air and set off a fierce gust of wind. It swept across the sky and enveloped Duan Lingtian. Duan Lingtian's purple robe fluttered along with the wind. Under everyone's gaze, Duan Lingtian stood in the same spot as he faced Leng Yun's overwhelming attack. He did not move at all. Under the gaze of a group of powerful Emperor Wu and Demon Emperor experts, Duan Lingtian casually took out a sword. In the blink of an eye, the sword split into 9 swords and revolved around his body. Suddenly, the 9 swords that revolved around Duan Lingtian's body swept out together. 9 Tribulations Sword Control Technique. 9 Dragons Radiant Flash. Facing the claw shadows that were formed by Leng Yun's sky-ripping darkening claw, that seemed to be able to tear everything apart, Duan Lingtian's heart jolted. He immediately executed 2 sets of heaven-rank high-grade offensive martial skills. Both sets of heaven-rank high-grade offensive martial skills were not weaker than Leng Yun's sky-ripping darkening claw. Boom! 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 A series of deafening bangs suddenly rang out. It was Duan Lingtian's attack that collided with Leng Yun's attack. As the bangs rang out, waves of rolling shock waves swept out and raged in all directions. Suddenly, the group of onlookers felt a gust of wind blowing in their faces. Those with weaker cultivations were blown far away. Even more people were blown back by the wind. What a brilliant martial skill! The 2 sets of martial skills that Duan Lingtian had cast. 9 swords in unison that transformed into 81 divine dragons, before they shot out 162 ultimate flashes of light, shocking all the martial emperors and demon emperors present at the scene. Bang! Soon, a loud bang rang out and attracted everyone's attention. Many Emperor Wu and Demon Emperor experts clearly saw that after Duan Lingtian blocked Leng Yun's sky-ripping darkening claw, the sword in his hand shook, and the sword body slammed out. The sword body slammed out as if it had the help of God. It was like a huge mountain collapsing, pressing down on Leng Yun. Leng Yun did not have time to react. She was hit by the power of Duan Lingtian's sword body. After a loud bang, she flew out like an arrow from a bow. She was battered and exhausted. Barf! As Leng Yun flew out, she spat out a mouthful of blood. Her already pale face became even paler. The outcome was decided. From the moment he confronted Leng Yun to the moment he defeated Leng Yun, Duan Lingtian stood there and did not move his feet at all. This caused the onlookers to be inexplicably shocked. Wang Yu, after defeating Leng Yun, before the onlookers could react, Duan Lingtian looked directly at Wang Yu. The 9 swords merged into one and fell into his hand. Chapter 1305. His feet did not move at all as he used his spiritual energy to wield his sword and cast a sword technique to defeat Leng Yun, who was Emperor Wu's 3rd-level realm martial artist. Duan Lingtian's strength shocked everyone once again. I'm afraid his strength is not inferior to an ordinary martial artist at the 4th level of Emperor Wu realm. Of course. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to defeat Leng Yun in such a short time. Numerous burning gazes descended onto Duan Lingtian, and their gazes were filled with surprise and shock. However, their gazes soon changed again. They were filled with anticipation. The 3rd place of the Hidden Fog martial competition today is Leng Yun. Now all that's left is the final battle between Duan Lingtian and Wang Yu to determine the 1st place. The 1st place of the Hidden Fog martial competition was about to be born. Everyone was looking forward to it. Amazing! Amazing! Demon Emperor Man Wu exclaimed as he looked at Qing Xian Emperor Wu. Qing Xian, Wang Yu is your favorite direct disciple. Do you think he can defeat Duan Lingtian? It's hard to say. Qing Xian Emperor Wu shook his head. Even you don't have confidence in Wang Yu? Demon Emperor Man Wu was stunned. If he's up against someone else, I have confidence in him. However, this Duan Lingtian. When Martial Emperor Qing Xian reached the end of his sentence, he did not continue. However, the way he looked at Duan Lingtian was filled with mixed feelings and dread. He could not see through this purple-clad young man. Everyone's attention was on the 2 young men, who were staring at each other. Duan Lingtian looked at Wang Yu calmly. This was an anomaly who possessed the innate ability to attack the soul. A bow had appeared in his hand without anyone noticing. The bow was as black as ink, and the bowstring was crimson red. It was surrounded by a crimson mist that emitted a bloody aura. From the looks of it, the sword is not his forte. His forte is the bow. Looking at Duan Lingtian holding a strong bow, Wang Yu thought to himself. Unknowingly, Duan Lingtian raised his right hand. Milky white origin energy pulsed, and in the blink of an eye, it transformed into a 5-colored energy that emitted waves of swift and fierce aura. A moment later, the 5-colored power condensed and turned into an arrow. The sword chi around it was oppressive, like a sharp sword instead of an arrow. Let's begin. Duan Lingtian looked at Wang Yu and said calmly. Now Wang Yu's strength had also skyrocketed, and his movements were not slower than Duan Lingtian's. When he heard Duan Lingtian's words, he nodded. His eyes suddenly narrowed as wisps of incomparably strange light flickered in them. At the same time, the 5-colored arrow condensed in Duan Lingtian's right hand landed on the bow in his left hand, and he knocked the bowstring. Creak, creak. With a series of strange sounds, Duan Lingtian pulled the bowstring and drew a full moon. His eyes looked directly at Wang Yu, and his pupils suddenly shrank. Gifted superpower. As Wang Yu's eyes flashed, a black lotus appeared out of thin air. As if it had turned into a black lightning bolt, it shot directly at Duan Lingtian fiercely. In the blink of an eye, the black lotus had crossed half the distance and was getting closer and closer to Duan Lingtian. At the same time, Duan Lingtian's pupils shrank even further. At the same time, he released the arrow condensed from his own strength in his hand. Colossal aerolite arrow. With a clang, the air in the area where the bowstring vibrated became turbulent, like ripples on the surface of a calm lake caused by a stone. Swoosh! The 5-colored arrow pierced through the air, emitting waves of swift and fierce aura that swept out. Is he out of his mind? When the arrow pierced through the air, there were only 3 people who could clearly see the trajectory of the arrow. This was the first thought that popped up in the minds of 2 of the 3 people. These 2 people were the 3rd island master of the Hidden Fog Island and Demon Emperor Man Wu. As for the 3rd person, it was Qing Xian Emperor Wu. The reason why the 3rd island master of the Hidden Fog Island and Demon Emperor Man Wu lost their composure, and even thought that Duan Lingtian had gone mad, was because the arrow that Duan Lingtian shot was not aimed at Wang Yu. The arrow pierced through the air and was aimed at the black lotus that was as black as ink. It was also Wang Yu's gifted superpower. Although the remaining group of Emperor Wu powerhouses and Demon Emperor powerhouses could not see the trajectory of Duan Lingtian's arrow clearly, they quickly caught a glimpse of it. Soon, they confirmed that the arrow that Duan Lingtian shot was aimed at the black lotus that pierced through the air. Doesn't he know that origin energy and profundity can't touch the gifted superpower? In order to shatter the gifted superpower, one must use extremely powerful spiritual power to succeed. This Duan Lingtian is really out of his mind. Does he think that he can shatter the gifted superpower just like that? In the blink of an eye, many people had the same thought. Most of them were mocking Duan Lingtian for being naive. Some of them even had a mocking smile on their faces. However, the mocking smiles on the corners of their mouths quickly froze. This was because they clearly saw that as the 5-colored arrow pierced through the air, the black lotus was directly shattered and vanished without a trace. How's this possible? The group of people could not help but exclaim. How's this possible? Even Wang Yu, who had cast his gifted superpower to condense the black lotus to attack Duan Lingtian, was stunned. He could not wrap his head around what had just happened. Initially, he already had a plan to deal with Duan Lingtian. After casting his innate ability, he immediately cast his movement martial skill at full speed when Duan Lingtian made his move. He tried his best to avoid Duan Lingtian's attack. As long as he was not defeated by his gifted superpower, he would be invincible. However, at this moment, whoosh! As a gust of wind blew in his face, Wang Yu's expression changed drastically. The energy in his body that had weakened earlier surged again. He wanted to escape immediately. It's too late. At this moment, a voice entered Wang Yu's ears. Although the voice was calm and emotionless, it sounded like the voice of a devil when it entered Wang Yu's ears. It sent chills down his spine. Bang! Soon after, Wang Yu heard a loud bang. It was accompanied by intense pain that spread from his chest to every part of his body. Subsequently, he felt himself flying out as though he was riding on the clouds. The sweetness in his throat became more and more rapid. He could not help but spit out a few mouthfuls of blood. It was none other than the movement martial skill, Dragon Soaring 9 Heavens, that Duan Ling Tian had cast when Wang Yu was in a daze. He had appeared in front of Wang Yu and struck out with his palm, easily sending him flying. Wang Yu flew for more than 100 meters before he could stabilize himself. He was in a sorry state, and his face was even paler. After he took out a healing pill and consumed it, the outcome of the battle was decided. Duan Ling Tian won and obtained the honor of being the champion of the Hidden Fog Martial Competition. At this moment, the entire place was in an uproar, especially the people from Lingxian Peak. Everyone from Lingxian Peak, including Emperor Wu Yonghui, had smiles on their faces. No matter what, Duan Ling Tian represented Lingxian Peak in the Hidden Fog Martial Competition. He shared the honor and disgrace with them. When Duan Ling Tian defeated Wang Yu in a clean manner, everyone's eyes shifted to him in unison. He had become the center of attention in the entire place. Duan Ling Tian is really a monster. That's right. Whether it was defeating Leng Yin or Wang Yu, it didn't take him long. His strength is so strong that it's completely beyond our imagination. To think that Chenji wanted to kill him, he's really overestimating himself. The group of onlookers discussed animatedly. The topics revolved around the strength that Duan Ling Tian had displayed earlier. Soon after, one of Emperor Wu's powerhouses reacted and exclaimed in a low voice, "I wonder how he managed to break Wang Yu's innate ability." That's right. I still can't figure out that arrow. With just one arrow, he managed to break Wang Yu's innate ability. It's like a stroke of genius. By right, origin, energy, and profundity shouldn't be able to touch a soul attack innate ability, let alone break it. Duan Lingtian's arrow isn't simple at all. More and more people were shocked by Duan Lingtian's arrow. It was as though the arrow was assisted by God. Some of the people with lower cultivation bases, who initially did not see any clues, began to realize how amazing Duan Lingtian's performance was when they heard the discussions among Emperor Wu's powerhouses. The arrow skill that he used earlier seems a little familiar. Yuhan's Emperor Wu frowned. She had a feeling that the arrow skill that Duan Lingtian had used earlier was familiar to her, but she could not recall it at the moment. Naturally, it was not that she could not recall it. It was just that she could not connect the arrow that broke her heaven and earth wipeout with the arrow skill that Duan Lingtian had used earlier. This was because the arrow yesterday was even more terrifying. It was even more terrifying because Duan Lingtian had used an arrow that was a royal-grade spirit weapon at the same time. However, he had held back today. He only used his own energy to form an arrow to attack. Emperor Wu and Demon Emperor, who recommended the top 10 participants of the Hidden Fog Martial Competition, please come forward and collect your rewards. As for the participants of the Hidden Fog Martial Competition, the top 30 participants will be rewarded in 10 days. Just when most of the people's attention was focused on Duan Lingtian, the third island master of the Hidden Fog Island announced loudly, causing everyone to shift their attention away from Duan Lingtian. Emperor Wu and Demon Emperor, who recommended the top 10 participants of the Hidden Fog Martial Competition, immediately took a spatial ring from the third island master of the Hidden Fog Island. Our rewards will only be given out in 10 days. One of the top 30 participants of the Hidden Fog Martial Competition frowned unhappily. Just when the top 30 participants of the Hidden Fog Martial Competition were feeling gloomy, Duan Lingtian took the spatial ring from Yang Hui. After he dripped his blood on it to claim ownership, he saw 10 little stones shining with white light lying quietly on the ring. These are the saint stones. Duan Lingtian was stunned. I remember there were 2 of these little stones in the spatial ring of Chenji, the only son of the second island master of the Hidden Fog Island. Who is it? Who killed my son? Chapter 1306. Along with the thunderous roar was an old man who was over 70 years old. The old man wore a silver robe and had a majestic look on his face. At this moment, his face was filled with killing intent. The moment the silver-robed old man appeared, everyone present could feel the tension in the air. Second Island Master. The group of Hidden Fog Island's core disciples and Inner Island disciples could not help but exclaim softly when they saw the silver-robed old man. Second Island Master. Second Island Master of Hidden Fog Island. Whether it was the other people from Hidden Fog Island, or the group of people from Cloud Continent, all of them knew the identity of the person who had just arrived. It was Chun Bei, the Second Island Master of Hidden Fog Island. He was also the father of the Hidden Fog Island's core disciple, Chunji, who was killed not long ago. When they thought of Chunji, many people quietly shifted their gaze to Duan Lingtian. The person who killed Chunji was Duan Lingtian. You're the one who killed my son? As the Second Island Master of Hidden Fog Island, Chun Bei's observation skills were shocking. In just a blink of an eye, he followed many people's gazes and noticed Duan Lingtian. When he looked at Duan Lingtian, his eyes gleamed with killing intent. Duan Lingtian was fine. He had a calm expression, as if he wasn't surprised. However, the group of people from Lingxian Peak, led by Yang Hui, had a change of expression. Even Kerr and Li Fei broke out in cold sweat for Duan Lingtian. The grudge of his son's death was irreconcilable. They knew very well. The Second Island Master of Hidden Fog Island was here to avenge his son. He wanted to kill me, so why can't I kill him? Duan Lingtian replied calmly in the face of Chun Bei's murderous aura. His face was calm. My son wanted to kill you, so you could only submit to him. That's the wisest choice. You'll be the only one who'll die. Unfortunately, you made the most foolish choice. You killed my son, so I'll kill your entire family. Chun Bei said coldly. After I kill you, I'll kill your family and all of your friends and family. Chun Bei's words caused an uproar. Even the group of people from the Hidden Fog Island felt that Chun Bei was overbearing. If Chun Bei's son wanted to kill someone, the others could only submit? What kind of logic was this? On the other hand, Duan Lingtian's calm expression finally changed and turned gloomy. At this moment he felt it even more deeply. The strong were respected, and this wasn't just the iron law of Cloud Continent. Even if they left Cloud Continent and came to the overseas Saint Islands, the saying that the strong were respected still applied. Second Island Master. Just as Chun Bei's eyes were filled with killing intent, and his silver robe fluttered, as he prepared to attack Duan Lingtian, the Third Island Master of the Hidden Fog Island stepped forward and blocked Chun Bei's path. Fangwen, are you trying to stop me? Chun Bei asked coldly as he stared coldly at the Third Island Master of the Hidden Fog Island. Fangwen was the name of the Third Island Master of the Hidden Fog Island. Second Island Master, I know you want to kill him. But there's one thing I need to remind you. He was the champion of the Hidden Fog martial competition. You should know what that means. Fangwen ignored the cold light in Chun Bei's eyes and said lightly, So what? I only know that he has to pay with his life for killing my son. Right now, I'm not killing him as the Second Island Master of the Hidden Fog Island. I'm killing him as a father. The cold light in Chun Bei's eyes intensified. I won't let anything happen to him as long as I'm here. Fangwen shook his head. If that's the case, I'll kill you as well. Don't think I don't know. You didn't stop him when he killed my son, because you haven't forgotten the grudge from the past. Chun Bei's silver robe fluttered even more violently as the killing intent on his body soared into the sky. What a joke! Apart from the battle for the top 10, the Hidden Fog martial competition doesn't care about life and death. Your son Chunji wasn't the only one who died in the battle for the top 10. Chunji was killed because his skills were inferior. What does that have to do with me? Fangwen sneered. Boom! Just as Fangwen's voice fell, Chun Bei could no longer suppress his anger, and it roared out. His silver robe fluttered to the extreme, as though it was burning with a silver flame. A vast energy rose around his body and emitted a terrifying aura. The group of powerhouses on Cloud Continent, including Qing Xian Emperor Wu and Demon Emperor Man Wu, had a change of expression. They could clearly sense Chun Bei's powerful strength. He's at least Emperor Wu stage 8th level or above. Demon Emperor Man Wu's heart skipped a beat. Duan Lingtian will definitely die if the second island master of the Hidden Fog Island makes a move. However, it's beyond my expectations that he's here. With the third island master of the Hidden Fog Island stopping him, he shouldn't be able to kill Duan Lingtian in a short time. If that's the case, let me do it for him. Flames of greed burned deep in Emperor Wu's cold eyes. She had never forgotten her goal. She wanted the spatial ring in Duan Lingtian's hand. Right now, his spatial ring doesn't only contain the treasures that he left behind as the reincarnation Emperor Wu in his second life. Earlier, Spirit Profound Emperor Wu also gave him the spatial ring that contained the Saint Stone. That spatial ring was also casually put into his own spatial ring. Perhaps the others did not notice all of this. However, Cold Emperor Wu had been staring at Duan Lingtian since the beginning. Naturally, she saw everything clearly. Initially, she planned to kill Duan Lingtian and snatch the spatial ring in Duan Lingtian's hand after the crowd dispersed. However, Chen Bei, the second island master of the Hidden Fog Island, had appeared. She had no choice but to make her move first. Now, she was only waiting for the two Hidden Fog Island's island masters to fight. Once they fought, it would definitely attract everyone's attention. At that time, she would kill Duan Lingtian and snatch the Duan Lingtian spatial ring. Cold Emperor Wu could not help but feel excited when she thought of this. Chen Bei, you really dare to make a move? Don't forget why the Hidden Fog Martial Competition is held today. If you ruin this, the first island master won't let you go. Fang Wen's face turned grave when he saw Chen Bei accumulating his strength and was ready to make a move. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Almost as soon as Fang Wen was done speaking, several swift figures appeared and landed beside Fang Wen, blocking Chen Bei's path. Apart from Duan Lingtian, most of the people were shocked by this scene. The group of people who blocked Chen Bei's path with Fang Wen was none other than the group of Hidden Fog Island's elders. Second Island Master, please reconsider. The group of Hidden Fog Island's elders said to Chen Bei in unison. Their voices sounded like a clap of thunder. While most of the people were shocked and confused, Duan Lingtian's eyes narrowed as he muttered to himself. It's just as I expected. The Hidden Fog Martial Competition isn't that simple. In fact, when he heard about the Hidden Fog Martial Competition, he had already guessed that it would not be that simple. Putting aside the rewards for the participants who ranked first in the Hidden Fog Martial Competition, Duan Lingtian's imagination ran wild even though the rewards for the referees were enough. The Saint Stone can help an Emperor stage powerhouse to elevate his cultivation base. You can imagine how precious it is. However, the Hidden Fog Island offered the Saint Stone to tempt the Emperor Wu powerhouses and Demon Emperor powerhouses from Cloud Continent to bring their people to the Hidden Fog Martial Competition. Who would believe that the Hidden Fog Island has no ulterior motive after going through so much trouble? Duan Lingtian still remembered. When he was still in the southern outer land of Cloud Continent, he had fought for many years for the martial competition of the 10 dynasties, and won the honor of being number 1 in the end. The martial competition of the 10 dynasties was held by the Skywolf Fort in the northern desert. They used a large number of concept fragments to tempt the young powerhouses of the 10 dynasties to join. The reason why the Skywolf Fort was willing to offer concept fragments and hold the martial competition of the 10 dynasties was because of Emperor Wu's secret treasure. If it was not for Emperor Wu's secret treasure, the Skywolf Fort would not have held the martial competition of the 10 dynasties. The reason why the Skywolf Fort held the martial competition of the 10 dynasties and offered a large number of concept fragments was because of the Profundity Fragment. The Profundity Fragment in Emperor Wu's secret treasure. With this experience, Duan Lingtian, naturally, knew that there was no such thing as a free lunch in the world. The Hidden Fog Island today was just like the Skywolf Fort back then. The Hidden Fog Martial Competition today was just like the martial competition of the 10 dynasties back then. Just like the Skywolf Fort, the Hidden Fog Island must have their own agenda. Because of this, Duan Lingtian did not hesitate when he killed Chen Ji. He was not surprised that Chen Bei, the second island master of the Skywolf Fort, would appear and seek revenge from him. In fact, he had expected this to happen. However, he was not worried. This was because he knew that as long as he displayed his value in the Hidden Fog martial competition, he would be valued by the Hidden Fog Island. When that time came, he would be extremely valuable to the Hidden Fog Island. The Hidden Fog Island would not sacrifice him before they achieved their goal of holding the martial competition. Now that he ranked first in the Hidden Fog martial competition with his own strength, he had proven his value to the greatest extent. Therefore, he was not worried that Chunbei would kill him. Of course, even if the Hidden Fog Island protected him for some reason, he was prepared to leave the Hidden Fog Island quietly after the martial competition ended. He would be free from the Hidden Fog Island's restraints. For some reason, he had a feeling that the Hidden Fog Island's goal was not as simple as the Skywolf Fort's goal back then. He had a bad feeling about this. If he stayed in the Hidden Fog Island and allowed them to do whatever they wanted, something bad might happen to him. Once I leave the Hidden Fog Island, even if I lose the Hidden Fog Island's protection, this Chunbei might not be able to find me. Chapter 1307. A gigantic human silhouette appeared before Duan Lingtian's eyes. It stood there like a small hill. The human silhouette was an old man in a golden robe. There was a golden mole between the old man's brows. It was dazzling like a small sun. They can't stop you, but can I? The pair of illusory eyes of the golden-robed old man's silhouette flashed. His piercing gaze seemed to penetrate the endless void and landed on Chunbei. It was as though a gigantic rock had fallen from his gaze. It was so oppressive that Chunbei's expression changed drastically. First Island Master. Chunbei took a deep breath and bowed respectfully at the silhouette in the sky. There was fear in his eyes. At the same time, he said anxiously, "Chunbei dares not." First Island Master. At the same time, the group of Hidden Fog Island's elders and disciples, including Fong Wen, the third Island Master of Hidden Fog Island, bowed at the silhouette in the sky. He stood in the sky with a majestic aura. He's the first Island Master of Hidden Fog Island? He doesn't seem to be a real person. I wonder what technique he has. I've heard that the first Island Master of Hidden Fog Island has a mystical ability that ordinary people can't imagine. Now that I've seen it with my own eyes, he really lives up to his reputation. How terrifying. The real person hasn't shown up yet. It's just a silhouette, but it gives people a strong sense of oppression. Everyone present, including the group of Emperor Wu powerhouses and Demon Emperor powerhouses from Cloud Continent, deeply realized how terrifying the first Island Master of Hidden Fog Island was. He's the first Island Master of Hidden Fog Island? What technique is this? Duan Lingtian could not help but mutter softly as he looked at the human silhouette in the sky. Apart from shock, his heart was filled with doubt. This old man is a powerhouse at the peak of the innate stage. He only needs one more step to reach the mortal shedding stage. At this moment, a voice resonated from Duan Lingtian's body. It was Wang Ba who spoke. Peak of the innate stage? Duan Lingtian's eyes narrowed. That's right. According to the words of your mortal continent, it is the peak of the Emperor Wu realm. In the Dao Martial Saint Land, he can be considered to have entered the peak of the innate stage. He's only one step away from the mortal shedding stage. Wang Ba continued. As for the skill he's using now, it's the innate illusion, which can be mastered by any martial cultivator who has reached the peak of the greater heaven realm. Innate illusion? Duan Lingtian nodded. What's the use of this innate phantom? The innate illusory body doesn't have much use in the Dao Martial Saint Land other than to confuse people. However, it can be used to scare people in a place ruled by mortals, just like now. Wang Ba added. I see. Duan Lingtian suddenly understood. He could understand Wang Ba's words. The innate illusory body was very common in the Dao Martial Saint Land, but it was extremely rare in the Cloud Continent and the overseas Saint Islands where mortals ruled. However, when Duan Lingtian looked at the golden-robed old man's figure in the sky again, his heart was still filled with shock. The peak of the Emperor Wu stage. This golden-robed old man, the first Island Master of the Hidden Fog Island, was actually at the peak of the Emperor Wu stage. It's very likely that he's the one who's leading the hidden fog martial competition. What does he need us to do when he's at the peak of the Emperor Wu stage? Duan Lingtian could not figure it out no matter how hard he thought about it. Just like that time when Emperor Wu's secret treasure was opened in the northern desert, forces such as Skywolf Fort, Blade Sect, and Five Element Sect had recruited young powerhouses just for the sake of obtaining the profundity fragments in Emperor Wu's secret treasure. All of this was because the powerhouses from the various forces were unable to enter Emperor Wu's secret treasure. Emperor Wu's secret treasure only allowed those below the age of 40 to enter. This time, the Hidden Fog Martial Competition also has an age requirement. Those below the age of 70. Don't tell me that there's a place similar to Emperor Wu's secret treasure that's about to open? Duan Lingtian shook his head as he thought about this. Logically speaking, it shouldn't be so coincidental. Then, what does the first island master of the Hidden Fog Island want from us? Duan Lingtian could not figure it out. You don't dare? Is there anything that you don't dare to do, Qinbei? At this moment, the golden-robed old man's silhouette in the sky spoke again. He mocked Qinbei, the second island master of the Hidden Fog Island. First island master, I just want to kill the enemy who killed my son with my own hands. Qinbei took a deep breath and said, Qinbei, although you're not the one who's leading the Hidden Fog Martial Competition, I remember you were there when I set the rules of the Hidden Fog Martial Competition. Do you need me to repeat the rules of the Hidden Fog Martial Competition for you? The golden-robed old man asked. His tone was as cold as ice. First island master, I'm confused. Qinbei had a panicked expression on his face. At the same time, he lowered his head silently. He looked like a child who was being recognized in front of an adult. There's a difference in the severity of the matter. Remember, apart from being Qinji's father, you're also the second island master of the Hidden Fog Island. The golden-robed old man left these words behind before he disappeared. The human-shaped silhouette in the sky disappeared without a trace. At this moment, most of the people present finally heaved a sigh of relief. The appearance of the golden-robed old man was just a silhouette, but it was enough to make them feel suffocated. Second island master, do you still want to continue? Feng Wen looked at Qinbei and asked nonchalantly. Humph. Qinbei snorted softly. He stared at Duan Lingtian for a moment before he turned around and left. In just a blink of an eye, he disappeared before everyone's eyes. It seems like this Qinbei still hasn't given up. I can't stay on the Hidden Fog Island anymore. Now that the first island master of the Hidden Fog Island has stepped in, he shouldn't dare to kill me for the time being. However, once I lose my value, be it the third island master of the Hidden Fog Island, or the first island master of the Hidden Fog Island, they won't be able to protect me anymore. At that time, Qinbei will definitely kill me. Duan Lingtian's heart sank. He planned to find an opportunity to leave in the next few days. The first island master of the Hidden Fog Island is so terrifying. Duan Lingtian won the first place in the Hidden Fog Martial Competition, and he's actually protected by him. It seems like I'll have to find another suitable opportunity to kill Duan Lingtian. Yuhan Emperor Wu's expression turned grave. A hint of dread could be seen in his eyes. He was afraid of the first island master of the Hidden Fog Island. Initially, she thought Duan Lingtian had offended the Hidden Fog Island by killing Qinji, and would not be protected by the powerhouses of the Hidden Fog Island. It was only now that she realized she was wrong. It seems like the Hidden Fog Island's purpose of holding the Hidden Fog Martial Competition isn't that simple. At this moment, Yuhan Emperor Wu also guessed something. No matter what, the Hidden Fog Martial Competition had come to an end. Everyone left one after another. 10 days later, the rewards for the top 30 people in the Hidden Fog Martial Competition would be given out. Apart from Duan Lingtian, the other 29 people were looking forward to it. Brother Yang, here are 3 saint stones. Please accept them. On the way back, Duan Lingtian raised his hand and passed the spatial ring that contained the 3 saint stones to Yang Hui. Apart from the 10 saint stones that were rewarded for the Hidden Fog Martial Competition, he had also obtained 2 saint stones from Qinji's spatial ring. There were a total of 12 saint stones. Therefore, he decided to give 3 to Yang Hui. No matter what, it was all thanks to Yang Hui that he was able to come to the Hidden Fog Island and participate in the Hidden Fog martial competition. Naturally, Yang Hui wanted the 3 Saint Stones. However, he politely declined in the end. However, after Duan Lingtian insisted, he finally accepted it. He thanked Duan Lingtian sincerely. "Thank you, Brother Lingtian." Yang Hui subconsciously lowered his attitude when he faced Duan Lingtian. Naturally, all of this was because of the strength that Duan Lingtian had displayed earlier. He had only suspected it before this. However, now, Yang Hui could confirm it. Duan Lingtian's strength was no longer inferior to his. If they were to fight to the death, he might not be Duan Lingtian's match. After returning to the southern island of the Hidden Fog Island, Duan Lingtian did not rush to leave with Kerr and Li Fei. The Hidden Fog martial competition had just ended. It was undoubtedly unwise to leave now. "Kerr, little Feier, I'll bring both of you out of the Hidden Fog Island in 5 days, and return to Cloud Continent." After Duan Lingtian informed the 2 girls, he entered his room and began to cultivate. 9 dragons wore sovereign technique, divine dragon form. The divine dragon form was the 9th form of the 9 dragons war sovereign technique. It was also the last form. According to Emperor Wu's memory, the divine dragon form could be cultivated until the peak of the Emperor Wu stage. The divine dragon form is the mental cultivation method that I started cultivating when I was at the martial monarch stage. Even if I can cultivate until the peak of the Emperor Wu stage, what about after the peak of the Emperor Wu stage? The peak of the Emperor Wu stage is only the peak of the innate stage in the Dao martial saint land. After the innate stage, there's still the mortal shedding stage and the saint rudiment stage. After the saint rudiment stage, there's still the saint stage. If Duan Lingtian used to think that the Emperor Wu stage was the peak that he could reach. However, the current him did not think so. His horizons were much wider than before. This saint stone. Duan Lingtian raised his hand and took out a saint stone. He had already learned about the saint stone's function from Yang Hui. It could rapidly raise one's cultivation base. Holding the saint stone in his hand as he cultivated, Duan Lingtian circulated the mental cultivation method of the 9 dragons war sovereign technique, the divine dragon form. He could clearly feel a powerful energy surging into his body from the saint stone. It felt like it did not take long before he broke through the bottleneck that was only 1 step away from breaking through to the 2nd level of the Emperor Wu stage. In just a blink of an eye, the origin energy in Duan Lingtian's body changed. His cultivation base successfully entered the 2nd level of the Emperor Wu stage. I broke through just like that. Duan Lingtian opened his eyes, and his expression was slightly dazed. The breakthrough this time gave him a feeling that it was very unreal. I feel like the speed at which this saint stone helped me raise my cultivation base is even more exaggerated than the rebirth pill. However, it's also consumed very quickly. It's only been a short while, and I've already consumed half of it. Duan Lingtian could clearly see that the saint stone in his hand had dimmed a little as his cultivation base had broken through to the 2nd level of the Emperor Wu stage. It seemed like it had consumed a lot of energy. I wonder how long I've been cultivating. It feels like only 1 or 2 days. After leaving the house, Duan Lingtian learned from the 2 girls that he had been cultivating for 3 days. No wonder they say that time flies when one cultivates. It seems like it's true. Duan Lingtian sighed emotionally. Chapter 1308. The people from Lei Yun Peak stayed in a forest on the east side of the southern island of the Hidden Fog Island. They stayed in a spacious mansion that stood in the forest. The people from the Hidden Fog Island had arranged for them to stay in this mansion. Not far from the west side of the mansion, a figure stood in the air. He was looking in the direction of the mansion through the forest. Joey. This person was none other than Duan Lingtian, who had just rushed over. Duan Lingtian only had one purpose in coming here, and that was to kill Zhou Yi and take the Devil Seal tablet back from him. The Devil Seal tablet belonged to him in the first place. If he had not lost his mind and lost the Devil Seal tablet in the Lost Stone Forest, the Devil Seal tablet would still be in his hands now. Now, he only wanted to take back what belonged to him. He did not have a good impression of Zhou Yi. If Zhou Yi had not taken Tianwu away, he would not have gone to the Lost Stone Forest. If he had not gone to the Lost Stone Forest, he would not have used the Devil Seal tablet by force. The side effect of using the Devil Seal tablet for the third time almost cost him his life. He still had lingering fears when he thought about it. However, Duan Lingtian waited for a long time, but Zhou Yi did not seem to have any intention of leaving. Thunder Emperor Wu's ability is not inferior to Frosty Emperor Wu. Although I've made a breakthrough to the second-level Emperor Wu stage, I don't have the confidence to fight him. Duan Lingtian knew this very well. Otherwise, he wouldn't have chosen to wait here for the rabbit to appear. If he had the confidence to defeat Thunder Emperor Wu, he would have barged into the mansion in front of him and killed Zhou Yi to take back the Devil Seal tablet that belonged to him. After a while, Duan Lingtian noticed someone coming out of the mansion in front of him. When he saw the person, his eyes that lit up suddenly dimmed again. This was because this person was not Zhou Yi. Instead, he was one of the 9 Martial Emperor's disciples that Martial Emperor Lei Ming brought along. Seeing that the person who came out was about to leave, Duan Lingtian had an idea. Waiting for Zhou Yi like this isn't a good idea after all. I'll start with him. Seeing the Thundercloud Peak disciple leave, Duan Lingtian quietly followed. Soon he stopped the Thundercloud Peak disciples. Duan Lingtian, what do you want? When the Thundercloud Peak's disciple saw Duan Lingtian, he had a vigilant expression on his face. He was afraid of this purple-clad young man, who had won first place in the Hidden Fog Martial competition 3 days ago. I just want to make a deal with you. Duan Lingtian's eyes flashed as he spoke to the Thundercloud Peak disciples. What business? The Thundercloud Peak disciple asked. Help me lure Zhou Yi out. Once it's done, I'll give you 2,000 supreme-grade primal stones. What do you think? Duan Lingtian said. 2,000 supreme-grade primal stones. When the Thundercloud Peak's disciple heard this, his breathing quickened. He was only an ordinary disciple under Emperor Wu's command. He was not Emperor Wu's direct disciple. To him, 2,000 supreme-grade primal stones was a huge fortune. Soon after, the Thundercloud Peak's disciple's breathing stabilized as he said, Zhou Yi is Emperor Wu's direct disciple. If I harm him, Emperor Wu won't let me off. 3,000 supreme-grade primal stones. Duan Lingtian interrupted him. As long as you can lure him out without alerting anyone, I'll kill him to prevent any future trouble. At that time the dead can't testify. Who would know that you lured him out for me to kill? Duan Lingtian continued. Alright. When the Thundercloud Peak's disciple heard Duan Lingtian's promise of 3,000 supreme-grade primal stones, he could no longer suppress the greed in his heart and agreed decisively. Zhou Yi had always been the target of his jealousy. Now that he had the chance to trick him, it was beneficial to him. There was no harm in doing so. Here are 1,000 supreme-grade primal stones. Consider it a deposit. I'll give you the other 2,000 supreme-grade primal stones after this is done. Let me remind you, don't try to play any tricks. Otherwise, I'll kill you on the spot even if you have Emperor Wu's protection. Duan Lingtian threatened when he reached the end of his sentence. I'm sure you've seen how much the Hidden Fog Island values me 3 days ago. In order to protect me, the first island master of the Hidden Fog Island, Emperor Wu, who's at the peak of the Hidden Fog Island, even personally came. And the peak of the Emperor Wu stage. The Thundercloud Peak's disciple's eyes narrowed. He was shocked by Duan Lingtian's words. 3 days ago, although he could see that the first island master of the Hidden Fog Island's ability was not simple, he did not expect him to be at the peak of the Emperor Wu stage. If such a powerhouse wanted to, he could kill their Thundercloud Peak's Thunder Emperor Wu in just a blink of an eye. Go, Duan Lingtian said again. After the Thundercloud Peak's disciple took the spatial ring that contained the 1,000 supreme-grade primal stones, he turned around and returned to the mansion where the people from Thundercloud Peak were staying. As for Duan Lingtian, he followed far behind and hid at the side of the mansion. I hope he can really lure Zhou Yi out. Duan Lingtian muttered to himself as he hid behind the forest and looked in the direction of the mansion from afar. Soon after, Duan Lingtian saw the Thundercloud Peak's disciple appear. There was another person who appeared with him. Just by looking at the back, he could tell it was Zhou Yi. After the two of them appeared, they left the mansion and headed north. After confirming that there was no one following them, Duan Lingtian made his move and followed them from afar. Soon after, he stopped them in a forest far away from the mansion. Zhou Yi. After appearing, Duan Lingtian looked at Zhou Yi calmly. His eyes were cold and emotionless. Duan Lingtian. Horror dawned on Zhou Yi's face. He did not expect to be so unlucky to encounter Duan Lingtian. As soon as he stepped out of the door, whoosh! At this moment, he noticed that Duan Lingtian shot a ray of light at him, with just a raise of his hand. Origin energy and profundity rose from his body as he tried to block it. However, he was soon stunned. This was because he noticed that the Thundercloud Peak's disciple next to him had raised his hand to block the ray of light shot out by Duan Lingtian, before flying away and disappearing before his eyes in just a blink of an eye. When the ray of light approached him, he realized it was a spatial ring. At this moment, he realized he had been deceived. Damn it! I can't believe I didn't guard against him. Now he could roughly guess what was going on. The Thundercloud Peak's disciple must have bribed Duan Lingtian and helped Duan Lingtian lure him out. When Zhou Yi recalled the powerful strength that Duan Lingtian had displayed 3 days ago, he felt a chill run up his spine from the bottom of his feet to the top of his head. Duan Lingtian, it was my fault for what happened back then. However, it was Emperor Wu who asked me to capture Miss Tian Wu and bring her to Lost Stone Forest. After taking a deep breath, Zhou Yi looked at Duan Lingtian and pushed all the blame to Emperor Wu. 3 days ago, before the Hidden Fog martial competition began, I met Emperor Wu once. He's not as powerful as I am, and his life is hanging by a thread. In order to survive, he told me everything. Duan Lingtian glanced at Zhou Yi indifferently and said slowly, including why you betrayed Lost Stone Forest. Horror dawned on Zhou Yi when he heard Duan Lingtian's words. Run! Without any hesitation, Zhou Yi turned around and fled. What a joke! Since Duan Lingtian already knew everything, then the purpose of Duan Lingtian's visit was not as simple as taking revenge on him for kidnapping Feng Tianwu. He was here for the mysterious stone tablet. If he stayed, not only would the mysterious stone tablet be taken away, but he would also be killed. However, would he be able to escape? In just a blink of an eye, Duan Lingtian appeared in Zhou Yi's path again and blocked his way. Duan Lingtian, I can give you the thing that you want. Zhou Yi's expression changed drastically. Zhou Yi's expression changed again. He realized it was impossible for him to escape under Duan Lingtian's nose. He immediately wanted to take out the Devil Seal tablet and beg Duan Lingtian to spare his life. However, Duan Lingtian had no intention of letting him finish. He interrupted him. There's no need for you to say anything else. You'll definitely die today. The moment his words left his mouth, Duan Lingtian's body moved. It was as though he had transformed into a 5-colored divine dragon. He opened his bloody mouth and charged at Zhou Yi as though he was going to swallow him whole. No. Zhou Yi's face was filled with despair as he let out a cry. Boom! Just as Zhou Yi cried out in alarm, he heard a loud bang. Immediately after, a vast, rolling shockwave landed on his body and sent him flying. Zhou Yi thought he would definitely die. The outcome would be the same whether he defended or not. Therefore, he did not deliberately defend himself against Duan Lingtian's attack. Because of this, he was blasted far away. I'm still alive. I'm still alive. Zhou Yi spat out a mouthful of blood as he ignored the intense pain from the impact of the shockwave. His face was filled with ecstasy. After his ecstasy, he gradually calmed down. Logically speaking, with Duan Lingtian's strength, he should be able to blast me into pieces with just one blow. But when Zhou Yi came to a halt and looked into the distance, he saw a figure standing in front of Duan Lingtian, blocking his path. Although the figure was a little blurry due to the distance, he could still recognize the silhouette of Martial Emperor Lei Ming's back with just a glance. I hope he can kill Duan Lingtian. Otherwise, Duan Lingtian will still be a huge threat to me if he's alive. Zhou Yi thought to himself. However, Zhou Yi did not go over. He merely watched from afar. This Duan Lingtian shouldn't be hiding his strength, right? An ominous feeling rose in his heart when he recalled how Duan Lingtian had displayed his strength step by step 3 days ago, and how he had shocked him time and time again. No, I can't stay. Who knows if this Duan Lingtian is still hiding his strength? If he's really hiding his strength, and his true strength is enough to kill Thunder Emperor Wu, then won't I be dead for sure? Run! I must run! Just in case, I must run. When Joey thought of this, he no longer hesitated and turned to flee. However, he had forgotten one thing. Chapter 1309. Duan Lingtian. What enmity do you have with Joey? Why do you want to kill him? Thunderclap Emperor Wu asked in a deep voice as he looked at Duan Lingtian. Duan Lingtian did not answer Thunderclap Emperor Wu, because he saw Zhou Yi's silhouette leaving. Anxious, he hurriedly moved to chase after Zhou Yi. No matter what, he could not let Zhou Yi escape. It would be fine if Zhou Yi escaped back to the Thundercloud Peak's residence. However, if he escaped from the hidden Fog Island, how would he be able to find Zhou Yi and take back the Devil Seal tablet in the vast land? However, he was stopped by Thunderclap Emperor Wu as soon as he moved. Get lost! Duan Lingtian was burning with anxiety. All he wanted to do was to chase after Zhou Yi, kill him, and take back the Devil Seal tablet. He did not have time to think about the Thunderclap Emperor Wu, who was blocking his way. He simply threw a punch at him. Boom! Duan Lingtian's strength seemed to have transformed into a 5-colored divine dragon that charged out swiftly and crashed into Martial Emperor Lei Ming. It was as if the ground had collapsed when the punch was thrown out. However, Thunderclap Emperor Wu easily blocked Duan Lingtian's attack with a loud bang. Moreover, after Thunderclap Emperor Wu's energy crushed Duan Lingtian's energy, there was still a large portion of it left. It landed on Duan Lingtian's body. Bang! As expected, Duan Lingtian was sent flying. His vital energy and blood were surging in his body. The intense pain that came from all over his body caused him to snap back to his senses. He hastily took out a royal-grade resurrection pill and consumed it. In just a short moment, Duan Lingtian's injuries were mostly healed. Thunderclap Emperor Wu. After he stopped moving, Duan Lingtian's eyes were filled with extreme coldness. He would not allow anyone to stop him from killing Zhou Yi. Whoosh! A bow and an arrow appeared in Duan Lingtian's hands out of thin air. It was his royal-grade spirit bow and arrow. As soon as the bow and arrow appeared in his hand, he pulled it into a full moon shape. Colossal Aerolite Arrow. Without any hesitation, Duan Lingtian shot an arrow that was as black as ink in his hand. It was like a black electric snake streaking across the sky. It was so fast that Thunderclap Emperor Wu's expression changed, who was originally calm. In a hurry, Thunderclap Emperor Wu took out his quasi-royal grade spirit weapon and cast his most powerful technique to barely block Duan Lingtian's arrow. However, the remaining energy from the quasi-royal grade spirit weapon still caused his body to tremble violently. He didn't unleash his full force. When Duan Lingtian had not Lingtian had with him, he was to Lingtian's his fear to his. At this moment, Duan Lingtian shot another arrow. It was the same arrow that he shot earlier. As soon as it returned to his hand, he shot it out again. After shooting the arrow, Duan Lingtian had no intention of stopping. Whoosh! Whoosh! Another 2 arrows were shot at Emperor Wu. It was as though he would not stop until he killed Emperor Wu. That's not right. With his strength, even if he cast an advanced heaven-class martial skill, it shouldn't be this powerful. Martial Emperor Lei Ming, who had once again made his move to block the 3 arrows that Duan Lingtian shot out, had a flash of inspiration in his mind. Soon after, he finally realized what was going on. Saint-grade martial tactic. That's right. It's a Saint-grade martial tactic. When Thunderclap Emperor Wu realized what was going on, his expression changed drastically. At this moment, Duan Lingtian, who had shot 3 arrows at Emperor Wu's vital points, gave up on Emperor Wu and dashed in the direction where Zhou Yi had escaped. After Thunderclap Emperor Wu dodged the 3 arrows, they returned to his hand. Zhou Yi. After flying for a while, Zhou Yi's figure appeared in Duanling Tian's sight again. Whoosh! A piercing sound of wind whistling could be heard. It was obviously coming from behind. Duanling Tian knew that Thunderclap Emperor Wu had caught up with him. I don't care anymore. Even if I have to give up an arrow, I must kill Zhou Yi. Duanling Tian, who felt that time was running out, raised his hand and knocked an arrow on the strong bow in his hand. He aimed it at Zhou Yi's back. Stop! A thunderous voice came from behind Duanling Tian and was getting closer. It's too late. Duanling Tian sneered. The arrow in his hand whistled through the air and disappeared before his eyes in just a blink of an eye. Almost at the same time when he let go of the arrow, he saw Zhou Yi, who was running for his life, trembling before he fell to the ground. He's finally dead. Duanling Tian heaved a sigh of relief in his heart when he saw this scene, as he was extremely confident in his archery skill. The arrow earlier had penetrated Zhou Yi's heart. However, the royal grade spirit arrow was nowhere to be seen. Since Zhou Yi was far away from him, he could not retrieve the arrow that killed Zhou Yi through the inscription formation that was inscribed on the bow and arrow. Although it was a pity, he did not feel any heartache. In his opinion, the fact that the arrow was able to kill Zhou Yi was already considered to have fulfilled its mission. In fact, the arrow had not only killed Zhou Yi, but it had also left behind the Devil Seal tablet for Duanling Tian. If the arrow was gone, he could look for ink steel to refine it. However, if the Devil Seal tablet was gone, he would not be able to refine it as he wished. Boom! 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 Right at this moment, a wave of rolling airwaves that came from behind him woke Duanling Tian up, causing him to hastily take out another arrow and shoot it out from his bow. At the same time, Duanling Tian flew out and landed on the arrow. With the help of the arrow's speed, he managed to dodge the thunderous attack that Thunderclap Emperor Wu gave him. Duanling Tian, I can't believe you actually know the Saint Grade martial tactic. In that case, don't blame me for being merciless. Thunderclap Emperor Wu shouted. The quasi-royal grade spirit weapon in his hand shook, and a storm-like attack swept out fiercely toward Duanling Tian. At this moment, Thunderclap Emperor Wu had already killed Zhou Yi the moment he made his move. He did not kill Zhou Yi just to avenge him. More importantly, it was because of the Saint Grade martial tactic that Duanling Tian had cast. At Thunderclap Emperor Wu's level, he was especially sensitive to certain things. For example, the Saint Grade martial tactic. After confirming that Duanling Tian had cast the Saint Grade martial tactic, the first thought that appeared in his mind was not to ask Duanling Tian to hand over the Saint Grade martial tactic. This was because he knew the Saint Grade martial tactic could only be cultivated through the Saint token. Moreover, those who had obtained the Saint token must have a powerhouse backing them up. That powerhouse was most likely someone who stood at the peak of Emperor Wu's level. Even if he was not, he must be someone who was close to the peak of Emperor Wu's level. He was not someone he could afford to offend. For this reason, after confirming that Duanling Tian had cast the Saint Grade martial tactic, the first thought that appeared in his mind was to kill Duanling Tian to silence him. Who knew if Duanling Tian would ask that powerhouse to make a move on him in the future? This concerned his life, so he could not afford to gamble. Moreover, after killing Duanling Tian, he would be able to confirm whether Duanling Tian had the Saint token or not. If Duanling Tian had the Saint token, it would undoubtedly be a great bonus. Even if he did not, he would still be able to avoid a life-or-death situation. Kill. At this moment, there was only one thought left in Thunderclap Emperor Wu's mind, and that was to kill Duanling Tian to prevent future trouble. Due to the fact that he was determined to kill Duanling Tian, Thunderclap Emperor Wu attacked again without holding back. He suppressed Duanling Tian until he was forced to retreat again and again. He was in a precarious situation and could lose his life at any time. Although the colossal aerolite arrow was a Saint Grade martial tactic, and it was a human rank prominent Saint Grade martial tactic, Duanling Tian had only grasped the surface of it. Faced with Thunderclap Emperor Wu, who was at the 5th level of Emperor Wu stage, Duan Lingtian began to feel an immense pressure as time passed by. Don't tell me that I, Duan Lingtian, am going to die here today? Duan Lingtian, who was sent flying again by Thunderclap Emperor Wu, had a bitter expression on his face as he spat out a mouthful of blood again, as his internal organs trembled. He wiped the blood off the corner of his mouth. Bastard, you really can't help me? Duan Lingtian asked Wang Ba, who was hiding in his body. Boy, I can't help it. My soul isn't something that can be carried by your body. Once it occupies your body will instantly explode into dust. At that time both of us will die. Wang Ba's voice resonated with a hint of helplessness. Also, my soul doesn't have a carrier, so I can't use my soul attack. Can't your soul attack his soul directly? Duan Lingtian asked again. Brat, my soul can attack his soul, and I can even destroy his soul. At this point, Wang Ba was interrupted by Duan Lingtian. Then why aren't you making a move? Boy, although I can use my own soul to destroy his soul, at that time, I'll passively occupy his body. His body won't be able to carry my soul, and will still explode into dust. Once his body explodes into dust, my soul will be destroyed as well. I won't do something that will send me to my death. Wang Ba said again. He made it very clear. If he wanted to save Duan Lingtian, he could only choose to perish together with Thunderclap Emperor Wu. Of course, he was not willing to do that. When Duan Lingtian heard this, he immediately dismissed the idea of asking Wang Ba for help. As for Wang Ba's choice, he was not surprised. He and Wang Ba did not have a life-and-death relationship. It was only natural that Wang Ba would not be willing to sacrifice himself for him. If he was in Wang Ba's position, he knew he would make the same choice as Wang Ba. Then after I'm killed, will you die? Duan Lingtian asked. No, Wang Ba said. If you're killed by him and not by my soul, the vitality in your body will disappear, and my soul won't passively occupy your body. At that time, I can choose to enter his body and use it as a host. Wang Ba said again. At this moment, Duan Lingtian completely understood. Even if he died, Wang Ba would not die. What a pity. Boy, if you can cultivate the colossal aerolite arrow to the next level, it won't be difficult for you to fight him to a draw. Wang Ba sighed. Boy, don't blame me. In the end, Wang Ba added, if you can live, no one is willing to die, even if I'm only a remnant soul now. Obviously, he did not think Duan Lingtian could escape this calamity. Although Duan Lingtian felt that Wang Ba's choice was right, he still felt slightly uncomfortable. Chapter 13:10. When Duan Lingtian saw that the Thunderclap Emperor Wu had attacked again, and he did not have the time to retract his arrow and shoot it, despair filled his eyes. His life was hanging by a thread. Familiar figures appeared in his mind. The first person to appear was someone even he did not expect. It was his mother in this life, Li Ro. The second person to appear was Kerr, Li Fei and Tian Wu. There were also the two little pythons, the little golden mouse, his cheapskate father, and his old friends. Their voices and smiles were still vivid in his mind, but Duan Lingtian felt that they were so far away at this moment. He was afraid that he would not be able to see them again in this life. Farewell. Duan Lingtian sighed in his heart. He was completely disheartened. At this moment, the Thunderclap Emperor Wu was very close to him. Duan Lingtian could even feel the aura of death approaching him. Duan Lingtian, who was completely disheartened and ready to die, quickly realized that the Thunderclap Emperor Wu's attack did not land on him. Just as he was in a daze. Scram! A familiar and tender voice suddenly rang out. Immediately after, Duan Lingtian only felt a huge force, accompanied by waves of cold air, sweeping toward him. Although it was not targeted at him, it still sent him flying. Waves of vast, rolling shock waves shook his internal organs and made him dizzy. He flew out as if he was riding on clouds and mist. He only managed to stabilize his body after a while. When he flew out on clouds and mist, Duan Lingtian's mind flashed. He seemed to have understood something. The arrow pierces through clouds and mist without any resistance. This is. In Duan Lingtian's mind, the records of the colossal aerolite arrow's general principles flashed past one by one. At this moment, many things that had been confusing him in the past suddenly became clear. All of this was just the feeling of riding on clouds and mist that he had just experienced. When he was sent flying by the shock waves, the sudden feeling made him understand. His comprehension of the colossal aerolite arrow. Duan Lingtian's eyes gleamed. He did not have time to look at the person who saved him. He took out a royal-grade resurrection pill and consumed it. With a lift of his hand, he knocked the arrow again. Creak! The bowstring trembled and was pulled into a full moon. Colossal aerolite arrow. The arrow shot out and disappeared in a flash in the air. When it appeared again, it was already behind Martial Emperor Lei Ming in the distance. With just a thought, the arrow returned to Duan Lingtian's hand. At the same time, a hideous bloody hole appeared on Martial Emperor Lei Ming's chest. He was looking at the person who saved Duan Lingtian, but he didn't have time to react. His body was pierced by an arrow. From the beginning to the end, he didn't have time to react. Although there was suspicion of a sneak attack, if the person who shot this arrow was not strong enough, it would not have been successful. No, impossible. Thunder Emperor Wu looked at Duan Lingtian, who was standing in the distance with blood flowing out of his mouth. His eyes and face were filled with disbelief. He could not figure out how a person who could not fight back at all, and was almost killed by him, could unleash such a powerful attack. He did not notice the arrow at all. In the end, Martial Emperor Lei Ming closed his eyes and fell to the ground. He had fallen forever. The famous Martial Emperor Lei Ming of the Cloud Continent had fallen just like that. He died in the hands of a young man. Even at the moment before he died, he could not figure it out. How could the young man who was almost killed by him unleash such a powerful attack? If the young man could unleash such a powerful attack from the beginning, no matter how weak he was, he could have fought to a draw with him. He would not have been suppressed to the point of being unable to fight back. In fact, Thunder Emperor Wu was not the only one who could not figure it out. Even Duan Lingtian could not figure it out as well. He would be enlightened in that instant. That moment of enlightenment helped his colossal aerolite arrow break through to a whole new level. It allowed his strength to increase by leaps and bounds. After his colossal aerolite arrow leveled up, his strength was not inferior to Thunder Emperor Wu's. When Thunder Emperor Wu's attention was not on him, he shot the arrow at lightning speed. Thunder Emperor Wu did not even have time to react before he was shot dead. Duan Lingtian was stunned when he saw Thunder Emperor Wu being killed by his arrow. He looked at the bow in his hand and could not regain his senses for a long time. Thunder Emperor Wu was in existence who was on par with Yuhan Emperor Wu. The Emperor Wu powerhouse, who was said to be ranked in the top 3 on Cloud Continent, died in his hands just like that. For a time, Duan Lingtian found it difficult to accept this fact. Brother Lingtian. In the distance, the young girl hovering in the air not far away from where Martial Emperor Lei Ming fell looked at Duan Lingtian with a hint of surprise on her beautiful face. Xuanai. Duan Lingtian finally regained his senses when he heard the voice. He looked at the young lady who had appeared in time to save him. The young lady was dressed in yellow. She looked to be around 15 or 16 years old. Her eyes were sparkling. With just one look, one could tell she was a mischievous person who did not know her place. There was a cold aura around the young lady's body. The young lady in yellow was none other than Han Xuanai. Han Xuanai, who came from Cloud Continent. Brother Lingtian, you actually know the Saint Grade martial tactic? After a short moment, Han Xuanai withdrew the icy cold aura that she released and arrived before Duan Lingtian in the blink of an eye. She was slightly surprised as she sized Duan Lingtian up from head to toe, and asked curiously, Xuanai, why are you here? At that moment, Duan Lingtian finally regained his senses. I couldn't find Brother Lingtian on Cloud Continent. I heard Brother Lingtian came to the Hidden Fog Island, so I came here. Brother Lingtian, you haven't answered my question yet. Han Xuanai frowned and said, that Saint Grade martial tactic. My father left it to me. As Duan Lingtian spoke, he looked at Han Xuanai from head to toe and asked, Xuanai, I remember you told me last time that you've been maintaining this appearance because you've cultivated a special technique. Now that you've broken through to the Emperor Wu stage, why can't you return to normal? I have to enter the mortal shedding stage first. Han Xuanai said with a bitter face. Brother Ling Tian, since you know the Saint-grade martial tactic, you must know about the mortal shedding stage, right? Yes, I do. Duan Ling Tian nodded. Then he seemed to have recalled something and said, Wait for me for a while. As soon as his words left his mouth, Duan Ling Tian flew out and took the spatial ring from the thunderclap Emperor Wu's body before destroying it. Then, he went to take Zhou Yi's spatial ring and did the same thing, making Zhou Yi follow in the footsteps of the thunderclap Emperor Wu. After performing the blood ownership claim on Zhou Yi's spatial ring and confirming that the Devil Seal tablet was inside, Duan Ling Tian sighed in relief. The Devil Seal tablet is finally back. When Duan Ling Tian took Zhou Yi's spatial ring and turned to look at Han Xuanai, he was stunned again. At this moment, there was another person next to Han Xuanai. It was a little girl dressed in white. The little girl looked no more than 10 years old, and her eyes were sparkling. However, when the little girl in white looked at him, there was a hint of excitement on her delicate little face. When he recalled what Emperor Wu had said to him 3 days ago, he guessed the identity of the little girl in white. Brother Ling Tian, guess who she is? Han Xuanai brought the little girl in white forward and asked Duan Ling Tian mysteriously with a smile on her face. Little White, I didn't expect you to be able to transform into a human. Duan Ling Tian looked at the little girl in white and sighed. I still remember when I first met you. You were just a little girl. Duan Ling Tian greeted the little girl as he gestured with his hands. Brother. Seeing that Duan Ling Tian recognized her, the little girl in white could no longer suppress the excitement in her heart. She flew out and hugged Duan Ling Tian like a koala. To her, Duan Ling Tian was her closest kin. Ever since she could remember, Duan Ling Tian had always been by her side. When she was born, she even treated Duan Ling Tian as her father. Duan Ling Tian smiled from the bottom of his heart. He patted Little White's head and said gently, Little White, I'm sure Kerr will be very happy to see you. Sister Kerr? Little White's eyes lit up. She asked in anticipation, Brother, where's Sister Kerr? She's on the hidden fog island too. I'll bring you to see her later. But why is it only you and Xuanai? Where's Little Gold and Little Black? Duan Ling Tian looked around as he spoke. How boring. Brother Ling Tian recognized me so quickly. Han Xuanai said a little unhappily. Although she was already over 20 years old, she was still a child at heart. Brother, how did you recognize me? Little White asked curiously. When Han Xuanai heard this, she also looked at Duan Ling Tian. She found it a little unbelievable that Duan Ling Tian was able to recognize Little White with just a glance earlier. If it wasn't for Emperor Wu Shiqi, I wouldn't have recognized you either. Duan Ling Tian smiled and told the two girls about his encounter with Emperor Wu Shiqi 3 days ago. So it's him. The two girls finally understood. Sister Xuanai, you and Little White should have killed that Emperor Wu Shiqi back then. Now we can't even maintain our mystery anymore. How boring. At this moment a dissatisfied girl's voice sounded. A little girl dressed in gold appeared before Duan Ling Tian. Unlike the little girl in white, the little girl in gold looked more like Han Xuanai. They were both mischievous. Little Gold? Upon hearing the little girl in gold's voice, Duan Ling Tian immediately guessed her identity. This was because her voice did not change much from before. Between Little Gold and Little Black, only Little Gold was female. As for Little Black, it was a male snake. Brother. When Little Gold looked at Duan Ling Tian, she was also excited. She flew out and pushed Little White, who was in Duan Ling Tian's arms, to the side. She hugged Duan Ling Tian tightly. Brother, Little Gold missed you so much. In the past, although Little Gold and Duan Ling Tian would fight occasionally, they were very close. Brother. At some point in time, a cool little boy dressed in black appeared. His appearance was somewhat similar to Xiao Bai's. Chapter 13:11. Little Black. Duan Ling Tian looked at the cool little boy in black. It was easy for him to guess his identity. The arrival of Xuanai and the 3 little fellows was undoubtedly a pleasant surprise for Duan Ling Tian. Since the three little fellows missed Ke and Li Fei, Duan Lingtian did not have time to chat with Han Xuanai before he brought them back to the mansion where the people from Lingxian Peak were staying. They returned to their courtyard. Young master, they are. Ke was elated when she saw Duan Lingtian return. However, she was stunned when she saw the four people behind Duan Lingtian. Li Fei heard Ke's voice and knew that Duan Lingtian had returned. However, she was stunned when she saw the four people behind Duan Lingtian. Han Xuanai and the other three were undoubtedly unfamiliar faces to Ke and Li Fei. Sister Ke, Sister Li Fei. Soon after, Little White leaped into Ke's arms while Little Gold leaped into Li Fei's arms. The two little fellows were very excited. It was as though they had returned home after wandering for many years. The two little fellows' actions had undoubtedly frightened the two little fellows. After Duan Lingtian's explanation, the two little fellows reacted. As it turned out, the two little girls were the little white python and the little gold mouse from back then. Little White, I didn't expect it to be you. You're Little Black, right? Ke was naturally very happy that Little White had returned. Soon after, her gaze landed on the cool little boy in black, who was looking at her excitedly. Sister Ke. Little Black greeted Ke excitedly. Back then, when he and his sister Little White were just born, the first people they saw were Duan Lingtian and Ke. Due to this reason, they had an extraordinary affection for Duan Lingtian and Ke. In their eyes, Duan Lingtian and Ke were not only their brother and sister, but they were also their father and mother. They were the people they respected the most, and the most important people in their hearts. Little Gold, compared to before, you've completely changed. I can't even recognize you, Li Fei said to Little Gold. When Duan Lingtian saw the two little girls were getting along with the three little fellows, he beckoned Han Xuanai over and walked to the side. He immediately shifted his gaze to Han Xuanai and asked, Xuanai, if I'm not mistaken, you're from the Dao Martial Arts Saint Land? Big brother Lingtian, you guessed it? Han Xuanai was a little surprised. I'd be an idiot if I still can't guess it. Duan Lingtian smiled wryly. Initially, I thought you're from the Han clan, one of the two great ancient clans on Cloud Continent. Han clan? Han Xuanai's mischievous eyes gleamed as she said, although I'm not from the tiny Han clan, our clan has some ties with them. The Han clan's ancestor can be considered as someone from our clan. I see. Duan Lingtian finally understood. At the same time, his heart was filled with shock. It did not cross his mind that the Han clan's ancestor was from the Dao Martial Saint Land. The Han clan was one of the two great ancient clans on Cloud Continent. Back then, the reincarnation emperor Wu had interacted with them before, so he knew them quite well. However, even the reincarnation emperor Wu did not know that the Han clan's ancestor was from the Dao Martial Saint Land. The reincarnation emperor Wu did not even know about the Dao Martial Saint Land. Subsequently, Duan Lingtian also learned from Han Xuanai when she brought the three little fellows back, and what she did with the three little fellows on Cloud Continent. The Lingtian sect, the number one sect on Cloud Continent? Duan Lingtian was completely shocked when he learned that the Lingtian sect had become the number one sect on Cloud Continent under the leadership of Han Xuanai, the acting sect leader. However, when he thought about it again, he felt relieved when he recalled his current strength. With his current strength, it would not be difficult for him to lead the Lingtian sect to become the number one sect on Cloud Continent. With my current strength, among the known Emperor Wu powerhouses on Cloud Continent, only the Qingxian Emperor Wu can defeat me. As for the chilling Emperor Wu, he'll only be able to fight me to a draw at most. Duan Lingtian was very confident about this. Naturally, this was only the known Emperor Wu powerhouses. The Cloud Continent was so big that there must be many Emperor Wu powerhouses who lived in seclusion. It was not impossible for some of them to defeat the Qingxian Emperor Wu. Apart from that, Duan Lingtian also learned some other things from Han Xuanai. This included the fact that Han Jing, the Han clan's disciple who annihilated the Northern Mountains Lu clan in the southern outer land of Cloud Continent, had arrived at the Lingtian sect and was killed by her. I didn't expect so many things to happen when I wasn't around. Xuanai, it's all thanks to you. If it wasn't for you, I'm afraid the Ling Tian sect would no longer exist. Duan Ling Tian sighed as his eyes flashed. He did not care if the Ling Tian sect was gone. What he cared about was the people in the Ling Tian sect, who were forced by the Han clan's disciple, Han Jing, to stay and die with the Ling Tian sect. Brother Ling Tian, why are you being so courteous with me? Han Xuanai shook her head and smiled. Then, her mischievous eyes gleamed as she asked, Brother Ling Tian, you said that the Saint grade martial tactic that you're cultivating was passed down to you by your father? Isn't your father from the southern outer land of Cloud Continent? How would he know the Saint grade martial tactic? The Saint grade martial tactic belonged to the Dao martial Saint land. Even if the Cloud Continent had it, it was only in the hands of the two great ancient clans. Naturally, that was only the situation on the surface. As far as she knew, apart from the two great ancient clans, there was another person who cultivated the Saint grade martial tactic on the Cloud Continent. That person was somewhat related to her. My father is indeed from the southern outer land of Cloud Continent. However, he's not around since I can remember. He's only reappeared after more than 20 years. Duan Lingtian told Han Xuanai everything about Duan Rufing's return and how Duan Rufing brought his mother away. He also mentioned the things that Duan Rufing left for him. 3 Dao talismans left behind by a Saint Rudiment stage Dao cultivator? Han Xuanai was shocked when she heard Duan Lingtian's words. Brother Lingtian, it seems like your father isn't a simple person in the Dao martial Saint land. The Dao talismans left behind by Saint Rudiment stage Dao cultivators are not something that ordinary people can obtain. At the very least, ordinary mortal shedding stage martial cultivators, Dao cultivators, devil cultivators, and even those at the paramount mortal shedding stage, it's very difficult for them to obtain a Dao talisman inscribed by a Saint Rudiment stage Dao cultivator. Not every Saint Rudiment stage Dao cultivator can inscribe a Dao talisman. Han Xuanai said. Based on what you said, my father must be at the Saint Rudiment stage or above. Duan Lingtian asked. At the very least, he must be at the Saint Rudiment stage. Han Xuanai nodded. Duan Lingtian's heart skipped a beat when he heard Han Xuanai's confirmation. It did not cross his mind that his cheapskate father was at the Saint Rudiment stage or above. According to Wang Ba, the Saint Rudiment stage was at the Saint Rudiment stage. After the Saint Rudiment stage was the Saint stage. Once one made a breakthrough to the Saint stage, one would be a powerful Saint stage powerhouse. A Saint stage powerhouse was so powerful that it was not difficult for them to split mountains and rivers, burn rivers and boil seas. While Duan Lingtian was surprised by his cheapskate father's strength, he was also curious about the force behind Han Xuanai. Xuanai, what kind of force is your clan in the Dao martial Saint land? Is it very powerful? It's all right. When Brother Lingtian goes to the Dao martial Saint land in the future, I'll invite you to my house as a guest. You'll know by then. Han Xuanai kept him in suspense when she reached the end of her sentence. Yes, it's all thanks to Qing Nu that the 3 little fellows are able to achieve what they have today. At that time I'll thank her in person. Duan Lingtian still remembered the old woman who followed Han Xuanai around back then. It was because she asked the 3 little fellows to leave with her that the 3 little fellows were able to achieve what they had today. He was grateful from the bottom of his heart. Brother Lingtian, judging by your current strength, I'm sure you must have had a fortuitous encounter all these years. I think even if they didn't leave with Qing Nu back then, they wouldn't be much weaker than they are now. Han Xuanai smiled. What's their cultivation base now? Duan Lingtian was curious about this. When he first saw the 3 little fellows, he had already sensed the aura of a demon emperor from them. Since they were all at the emperor stage, he did not use his spiritual energy to probe them. However, he was still curious about the 3 little fellows' strength. Little White and Little Gold are at the 7th level demon emperor stage. As for Little Black, he had already broken through to the 8th level demon emperor stage half a month ago. Han Xuanai said. 7th level demon emperor stage? 8th level demon emperor stage? Han Xuanai's words stunned Duan Lingtian. When he came back to his senses, the first thing he did was to look at the 3 little fellows who were getting along well with Ko-er and Li Fei. His heart was filled with shock. Their strength is actually so strong. Subsequently, Han Xuanai said something that stunned Duan Lingtian. With Little White and Little Gold's progress, they should be able to break through to the 8th level Demon Emperor stage within 3 months. Han Xuanai said. After a long while, Duan Lingtian finally returned to his senses from his shock. He looked at Han Xuanai and asked, Xuanai, your current strength. You shouldn't be any weaker than them, right? Han Xuanai smiled mysteriously and did not respond to Duan Lingtian. Although she did not respond, Duan Lingtian already had an answer in his heart. He could not help but curse in his heart. What a bunch of freaks! At this moment, Duan Lingtian felt like he was no longer a monster or a genius. Compared to the 4 little fellows, he was nothing. Brother Lingtian, did you know? You've been used. Han Xuanai seemed to have recalled something all of a sudden as she said, You followed Martial Emperor Ling Xian from Ling Xian Peak to the Hidden Fog Martial Competition on the Hidden Fog Island because he wanted the Saint Stone. I heard from the few old fellows in the Han clan that the Cloud Continent's Emperor will obtain the Saint Stone from the Hidden Fog Island without telling you. They won't give the Saint Stone to people like you who work for them. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.